NBC Sports welcomes you to the following special presentation of the National Football League, Super Bowl 40.
And what do you know? A game is about to break out. Mike Holmgren, who guided Green Bay to a Super Bowl championship, lost in another appearance. Bill Cowher, second time to the Super Bowl, lost to Dallas 10 years ago. And that is Jeff Reed, who will put it in the air for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Josh Scobee will run it back. There is Scobee. I talked a few minutes ago about the fact that Seattle fumbled the opening kickoff, first play of the game in Jacksonville back in September. But Scobee has been a good kickoff returner all season long.
You know, and that's one of the areas that there hasn't been a lot of talk about in this Super Bowl matchup. But if you say who has the advantage in special teams, I think it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have started hot in their last two games at Indianapolis and at Denver. Beat Cincinnati before that, and Super Bowl 40 underway in Detroit. The kick goes to the 3-yard line. Josh Scobee out of Kansas State brings it back out to the 18-yard line. Clint Krewalt makes the tackle. And here comes Hasselbeck. Originally a Green Bay Packer when Holmgren was there. Then came over to Seattle, now in his 5th season as a starter. He's been great in postseason, as you can see, with 3 touchdowns, no picks, and a rating of over 109.
And he was saying the biggest thing here offensively for the Seattle Seahawks is going to be how they handle the pressure defense of the Steelers, and we're going to find that out early.
Open up in the eye. You saw Troy Polamalu. We'll keep an eye on his ankle, which was tender early in the week. And the first play is a pass to Darrell Jackson. Let's take a look right now at the Seattle starting offense.
Matt Hasselbeck, Boston College.
Sean Alexander, the University of Alabama.
Max Strong, Georgia.
Bobby, the Easy Ingram, Penn State.
D-Jack, Florida Gator.
Joe Jervicius, Lake Catholic High School.
Walter Jones, Florida State. Steve Hutchinson, Michigan.
Robbie Koback, Wazoo.
Chris Gray, Auburn University.
Sean Locklear, Rockland County.
And the man who just introduced himself as D-Jack has made another catch. With the first 2 plays of the game are passes to Jackson.
And that's one of the things that the Seattle Seahawks really do is play up-tempo football. It's not no huddle, but it's a very quick huddle.
And that's how they've begun. And after 2 passes, it's Alexander, the league MVP and rushing champ, tripped up by Polamalu, but not before he picks up 8 behind a Sean Locklear block. 2nd and 2.
There's Mike Holmgren. He's one of the head coaches in this league that does call his own plays. Gil Haskell is the offensive coordinator. And then he kind of makes up the blank game plan and gives it to Mike Holmgren. And Mike Holmgren is a great play caller.
2nd and 2 from the 38-yard line. Quick 3-step drop and a pass again to Jackson, who missed 9 games during the middle of the season with knee surgery. Then they kept him out of the final game of the year. But he made a couple of very key catches thus far in the playoffs.
Well, you know, Ike Taylor is playing off of Darrell Jackson here. And as long as he gives them that big a cushion, the Seahawks are just going to take it. I mean, they're going to come up and hit that quick out right in front of them and pick up 6 and 7 yards. And until Ike Taylor gets up a little tighter or they change to a rotation to that side like they are now, they'll do that all day.
Jackson out after a minute and a half and 3 catches, and there goes Alexander around the left side, which is the dominant side of the Seattle offense, with 2 great linemen, of course, in Jones and Hutchinson, much talked about in the preamble to this game. And Alexander picks up about 1.5 yards here.
Yeah, we can see their plan here is they want to stay in 2 backs most of the time, and they want to throw the ball to loosen up this Steeler defense. But when they do run, they're not going to run inside. They're running the edges. See, they have 2 backs here, and here's Max Strong. The fullback is up here as a slot now.
2nd down and 9. Jackson comes back into the game. 6th play of the opening drive. Hasselbeck throws, and the pass is too high. Tried to go to Jackson again. Let's take a look at the Pittsburgh starting defense.
Aaron Smith, Northern Colorado.
Casey Hampton, national champs, Longhorns.
Kimo Von Ohoff, Boise State.
Clark Hagan's, Colorado State.
James Ferrier, Bollinger Estates.
Larry Foote, Detroit Persian High School.
Joey Porter, Colorado State.
Ike Taylor, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Troy Kumalo, University of Southern California. Chris Hope,
Florida State. Deshae Townsend, South Panola University.
3rd down and 9. Seattle likes to come up and split backs 3rd and long, and they do here with Morris and Max Strong. They stay in the block, and there's a sack, but a penalty. That's Clark Hagens who got there, but we'll see about the call. Bill Levy is the referee.
You know, with Clark Hagens on one side, Joey Porter on the other side, you really can't give him that edge, and the Seahawks know that too. But you see, here's the edge I'm talking about. It's right here and right here. You know, with no tight end there, then they just get that free run at your quarterback. And then he has to step up, and then they get the push in the middle, and the guy that enjoys it most is a quarterback of the defense that just got the sack.
Seattle to punt. Tom Ruin, who has 2 Super Bowl rings as a former member of the Denver Broncos, to put it in the air. Antoine Randall is back to receive it. And the kick goes into the end zone. So the first drive for Roethlisberger and company will start at the 20-yard line. A little less than 3 minutes into Super Bowl 40. The Pittsburgh Steelers, their 45 active guys tonight, none has ever played in a Super Bowl. From the 20-yard line, Ben Roethlisberger, 2nd year out of Miami of Ohio, led him to a 15-1 mark last year. And right off the bat, you've got Bryce Fisher coming across the line, and he was induced. False start.
False start. Number 83, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Tight end Heath Miller, who could be a key factor before this one is done.
You know, Bill Cowher said that they were going to be able to use some quick count, and they played 3 road games in the playoffs, and this game in the Super Bowl, should be more of a neutral crowd, but if you look or listen to this crowd, believe me, this is a Pittsburgh Steelers crowd.
About 80%, I would estimate. 1st and 15, and this is Willie Parker, taken down at the line of scrimmage by the rookie linebacker Leroy Hill. Last year, Tommy Maddox got hurt early, so they went to the rookie. Did a tremendous job and really came of age this season, despite missing some time because of arthroscopic knee surgery. And in postseason, he has been just tremendous with 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. Double tight end set here on 2nd down and 15 from the 15-yard line.
Look at how deep the middle linebacker Lofa Tatupu is.
They set up the screen to Parker, and Parker runs into Faneca, ran into his own man, and that's a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd down and 14. Willie Parker making the catch. He is their lead running back. Bettis is their short yardage guy. Veron Haynes on 3rd down.
You know, Al, I was talking about Lofa Tatupu, and you see how deep he is. But the big thing about being that deep, when he sees something, he can run up and hit that thing upfield. And he can meet it right at the line of scrimmage. So you look at him and say, geez, he's lined up too deep. And then whenever the ball gets to the line of scrimmage, Tatupu's right there.
Son of Mosi Tatupu, who played in the Super Bowl 20 years ago. Haynes is in the backfield, flanking Roethlisberger out of the shotgun. And a 2nd penalty on this drive, and that'll be a 2nd false start.
False start. Number 78 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Max Starks.
You know, and that's what I was saying. It's kind of a Pittsburgh Steeler crowd, so you wouldn't expect that on the Steelers to have 2 early penalties like this.
Mosi
right there.
Oh, yeah, great special teamer. Played with New England in Super Bowl 20 against Chicago. Still lives in New England. Lofa grew up in New England, started his college career at Maine, and then wound up going to USC. 3rd and 19 from the gun.
Seattle has a 3-man rush here.
Roethlisberger able to get away, and then he'll slide to a stop at the 21-yard line. Tatupu is there to make sure. And Pittsburgh will have to punt after 3 and out, including 2 false starts.
Yeah, you always look at that 3-man rush and you say, geez, they're not going to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But the pressure on the quarterback becomes that, okay, you only have 3 guys rushing, but you have 8 defending, so you have to throw into 8-man coverage. And in today's quick throw football, that's very difficult.
Chris Gardocki's been in the league 15 years, has never had a punt block. Peter Warrick will run it back for the Seahawks. And the left footer with a low kick, fielded at the 38 and taken down right there. James Harrison making the tackle. Hasselbeck and company come out for the second time with 9:39 to go in the opening quarter. 0-0. John, only 108 balls for use tonight, in addition to the kicking balls.
Isn't that something? And they're going to change the ball on every play in the first half, and that's to get these footballs into the game. And when we talked to Matt Hasselbeck the other day, that was his biggest concern. He said every quarterback that he talked to said, watch out for the balls in the Super Bowl because they're all new, and you get a new one on every play, and a new ball is usually a slick ball.
Roethlisberger's not worried about it. He's wearing the glove. Hasselbeck, meanwhile, with some completions on that first drive. And there's a little toss back to the fullback, Max Strong. And he gets tripped up by Kimo von Oelhoffen. They use a 3-4 with von Oelhoffen and Aaron Smith outside. And the big man at 325 pounds, number 98, Casey Hampton, filling up the middle.
You know, and that's where it all starts. I think you talk about, the linebackers on this defense. You talk about Troy Polamalu, but it's those front three guys that play like three defensive tackles that get everything started in the run game.
Second down and 10. Secondary does its job, and now Matt's going to take off, and he's going to slide to a hole, probably a little short of the first down. They will mark it just short of the 45-yard line, setting up third and short.
Kimo von Oelhoffen has a heck of a club. We talked to Walter Jones the other day. The big thing that he was worried about was that club. You see it right there, the left hand, and he said, I just have to keep my hips low and keep my balance, because if this guy catches you off balance, he just launches you.
3rd and 1, Alexander 16 for 16 on 3rd and 1 during the regular season. They fake it to him, and the pass is caught by Jackson, and Darrell Jackson's to the 45-yard line, tackled there by Ike Taylor, and Jackson's already caught 4 passes for 30 yards.
One of the things that Seattle wants to do, if they have to use a running back as a blocker, what they do is they want Max Strong to be the guy. So they're always going to play with 2 backs, and it's going to be either an eye or it's going to be offset. They really don't want Sean Alexander to be the pass protector.
Pittsburgh rotating its defensive line here, 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Hasselbeck's going to set up a screen, and then Alexander juggled it, and that was the end of that play. But Kiesel is there to make the tackle, number 99.
I think that's kind of a key, Al. Anytime you see Sean Alexander in there as a single back, it's probably going to be a screen. Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator of the Steelers, he's going to attack your protection. So when he sees a single back, he knows that he can make that back block in pass protection. They're going to try and do that to Alexander, and then Mike Holmgren, on the other hand, is going to say, okay, you do that, I want to screen to that side.
LeBeau is behind Cowher, one-time Detroit Lion back. Off the play fake, it's caught out in the flat by Bobby Ingram. He makes his first catch of the night, and the ball is at the 41-yard line where Ike Taylor makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Matt Hasselbeck, is a big guy, 6'4", and you don't think of those guys as being scramblers, but he's very good at that. He's very good at this type of thing, keeping a play alive. Just moving a little, but then he throws very well on the move and doesn't have to get set because he has a strong arm. He's a good player. He's playing at a high level now, but when he runs, he continues to look upfield.
4 receivers here, including DJ Hackett in the game for the first time with a ton of speed on 3rd down and 6. The pass is caught. There is a flag. That would be Jackson's 5th catch, but we'll see about the call from Levy. That was a 3rd down and 6.
Holding. Number 62 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Back that comes on a hole by Chris Gray, the 13th-year guard out of Auburn.
It's going to be against James Ferrier. He's going to come into the side. Here's Chris Gray right here. You see he starts to the outside, and he just gets his arm right around Ferrier's neck. Watch him. He's right there. Then he gets that right arm around his neck and puts the old chokehold on him.
And so with a little bit more than 6 minutes to go in a scoreless opening quarter, the Seahawks backed up. 3rd down, 16 at their own 49-yard line.
And the Steelers are in an interesting defense, and this is when they get their exotic defenses. 2 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 6 defensive backs.
They rush 3. Hasselback guns it downfield and nearly has it picked off by Ike Taylor. Had it in his hands, couldn't make the interception. In comes the punting unit.
Yeah, and those are things we were talking about earlier. Again, it was a 3-man rush, and the good news is you don't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. The bad news is you're throwing into a lot of white jerseys. 8.
A lot of jewelry in the Tom Ruin household. Married to Amy Van Dyke and has won a few golds as an Olympic swimmer. Ruin, who started the season with Carolina, winds up coming back to Seattle. And that kick will wind up in the end zone. Second time that's happened. Pittsburgh again will start from its 20-yard line. 5:39 left in the opening period. Seattle nothing. Pittsburgh nothing.
You know, centers are sneaky guys. Watch Von Oelhoffen is working here. He tries to get his club, but watch Robbie Toback right there. Once Von Oelhoffen says they love to sneak out and get that guy that's not looking. And it will always be the center that does that.
Toback, who's played in the Super Bowl before as an Atlanta Falcon. And this is Parker trying to go to the outside, and he's tackled by Trufant. Here's the Pittsburgh offense.
Ben Roethlisberger, Miami University. Willie Parker, Cleveland High School.
Dan Kreider, New Hampshire.
Antoine Randall, Indiana University.
Hines Ward, Forest Park, Georgia.
Heath Miller, University of Virginia. Marvell Smith, Arizona State.
Alan Faneca, LSU.
Jeff Harding, Penn State.
Kendall Simmons, Auburn. Max Starks, University of Florida.
2nd down and 10 now for the Pittsburgh Steelers from the 20-yard line. And this is Parker up to about the 26, 3rd and 4. The Seattle defense now.
Bryce Fisher, U.S. Air Force Academy.
Chuck Darby, North High School.
Rocky Bernard, Baytown, Texas.
Grant Wistrom, University of Nebraska.
Leroy Hill, Clemson.
Lothar Tupu, Southern Cal.
D.D. Lewis, University of Texas.
Andre Dyson, University of Texas.
Michael Bowler, Florida State.
Marquand Manley, the University of Florida.
Marcus Trufant, Washington State.
The defense did a great job. It was revamped in the offseason. Then Ray Rhodes, the defensive coordinator, suffered a stroke earlier in the year. John Marshall has pretty much taken over the role as defensive coordinator, and the pass intended for Hines Ward, no good, incomplete, and it's a 3-and-out for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Steelers were in their dime defense. They had 6 defensive backs in there, making it tough for Roethlisberger to throw. You know, if you look at his games in the playoffs, Ben Roethlisberger, he had the most success when he was able to throw on 1st and 2nd down. And to me, both these teams look a little tight. I don't know if it's that or maybe they start to get going and they get the penalty, but it's one of those 2 things.
Especially after the way Pittsburgh started in each of his last 2 games against Indianapolis and Denver. Little parring tonight. Gardaki's kick fielded 37-yard line. Warwick comes to the outside. And Warwick will take it back to close to midfield of the 49-yard line. So good field position for the Seahawks here with 4:01 to go in the scoreless first quarter. Super Bowl 40 from Detroit.
It's a blessing to be at the pinnacle of any sport. I've never won a championship in my life, so I really don't know what it feels like or what it's going to feel like, but to me it's more about the memories. I think the memories are priceless. The memories will last in you, in your mind, in your heart, and your soul forever.
You look at that Pittsburgh defense with Polamalu and Porter. It's kind of like going to a movie. You have 11 actors, but 2 of them would be like Jack Nicholson and Robert De Niro. You always know when they're in the scene. And this is Alexander across the 50 to the 47-yard line for a gain of 4.
And you listen to Troy Polamalu, and You know, he really sounds like a gentle guy, and off the field he is. I mean, he's really, but he gets on field and he's a totally different guy. I mean, this guy is all over the place. I mean, he'll launch himself at everything. And Dick LeBeau says a great player as a safety, the thing you're always looking for is a guy that can sack the quarterback and intercept the ball deep.
Well,
that's Troy Polamalu.
You talk to the Seahawks this week, they describe him as a missile, and that's what he is. Lines up all over the field, come from any angle. 2nd down and 6, and that's a 5th catch for Jackson, who's inside the 30, takes it to the 28, tying Andre Reed's record for most catches in the first quarter of a Super Bowl with 5.
Well, what they did is they caught him in that cover 2. You're going to see both safeties are deep. Jackson just gets inside the corner and trips on one side. And remember we were talking to Matt Hasselbeck yesterday, and he said, you know, who do you think will have a big game? He had a smile. I was just talking to Darrell Jackson. I think he's going to have a big day.
Play fake, lots of time, goes the other way, and that is hauled in for a first down by Joe Juravicius, who's playing in his 3rd Super Bowl, once as a Giant, once as a Buccaneer, and now as a Seahawk.
And that's a heck of a throw by Matt Hasselbeck. That was his 3rd read, but it all starts with good pass protection. You know, when they bring their pressure, they bring those outside linebackers like Higgins has come. If you get them blocked, then you can throw the ball on this defense. Getting them blocked is a tough thing. The Seahawks just did it there.
And the Seahawks beginning to open the game up a little bit, talking about the slow pace at the beginning. Like a fight where there's nothing but jabs. And now Hasselbeck moves to his left, throws, caught, touchdown, but here comes a flag. It's Darrell Jackson who makes the catch, and the flag thrown at the end of the play.
And that's what I was saying. Matt Hasselbeck does so well. There's going to be a penalty here, but he'll start to scramble, but he doesn't run. He just keeps looking upfield and finds that open guy.
Interference, number 82. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Wipe it out.
Yeah, it's something that Matt Hasselbeck saw all the way because he started running down there. Here's Jackson. He's going to start outside. Then he's coming on the in right there, and then he feels the scramble, so he goes into a scramble drill, and he put that right hand up there. You know, when you think of push-offs, that's not the kind you think about, really.
He pushed Chris Hope away. So 2 big penalties have cost Seattle 2 big plays in the first quarter, with just 2 minutes to go.
And the problem with Jackson on that play was right in front of the official, but again, he was finished running his pattern. He was going into scramble drill.
1st and 20 now from the 26-yard line. Alexander on a stretch play to the right. And Pittsburgh is there on the outside to knock him down after a gain of a couple. Back we go to Jackson again.
And you see again, he's running the pattern here. His pattern is an in. Now he sees and feels Hasselbeck scramble, so he goes to scramble drill. You just keep moving, find an opening for him, but in doing so, and look, it's right in front of the official, he pushed off with his right hand.
Jackson has all 4 of Seattle's first downs. 2nd and 19, they're going to give it to Alexander. He's going to pick and thread, but not go anywhere because it's stopped on the outside by Larry Foote, a Detroiter coming home to play in his hometown. He's the first guy to stop him.
You know what they do, these Seattle Seahawks, we're talking about how they really don't feel they can run inside. They have to run outside, but the tough thing about going outside is that they really handle the edges well and make you cut back. And then when you cut back, their speed and their pursuit is excellent.
3rd down, 23. Have to get it to the 6-yard line to convert. And Hasselbeck's going for 6. It is tipped up in the air and incomplete, intended for the speedy DJ Hackett. The number 4 wideout, and Bryant McFadden, a rookie out of Florida State, is there for the coverage.
Yeah, and I think that was the matchup they were looking for, is to get their speed DJ Hackett on the rookie McFadden, but that ball stays up there a little too long. In fact, McFadden made such a good read on it. He was really by it and a little late. Hackett had a chance to catch that thing.
Now a 47-yard field goal attempt for Josh Brown in perfect indoor conditions, right down the middle. And so the Seahawks get on the board first in Super Bowl 40 with 22 ticks left in the period. 3-0 Seattle. Super Bowl 40 in Detroit. Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya, and Susie Culber with you at the end of the first quarter, in which Seattle, with a 47-yard field goal by Brown, leads 3-0. Pittsburgh does not have a first down, and they'll begin the second quarter with a Chris Gardocki punt.
In fact, Pittsburgh has had 3 possessions, 3 3-and-outs. Ben Roethlisberger's 1 for 5.
Seattle with 5 first downs, and figured to have pretty good field position here again, except Gardocki with a beautiful kick that backs Warwick up to the 22-yard line. And Warwick gets a block. Warwick down the sideline, and Warwick takes the ball across the 50 to the 46-yard line.
Well, you could see that one coming up here, Al. He had the old picket fence. You know, you have a return right or a return left. That was a return right, and you form a wall on that side. And from here, you could just see a perfect Seattle Seahawk wall.
Holding, number 35 receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Almost never fails. Ettrick Pruitt with the foul.
But it's still a good-looking wall.
Yep.
Watch the wall here. It's over here on the right. Right here, this is a wall being formed by the Seattle Seahawks. And right there, you just go right up that lane.
It's funny, he got 2 real good clean blocks, and then Pruitt sort of an accessory on the run back here. Is the guy called for the foul?
Right, he was holding right there at the line of scrimmage, trying to hold his guy up from getting a release to get into coverage.
So now they'll start from the 25-yard line. Hasselbeck will give it to Alexander. He gains 5. We go to Susie Culber.
Al, talking to Seattle quarterback coach Jim Zorn, he explained how Matt Hasselbeck can have success against this complex Pittsburgh Steelers defense. He said the key is to avoid the mind clutter. Don't try to overanalyze. Let the coaches do the work. Just call the plays you're given. So I've watched Matt between series. He calls upstairs to Jim Zorn. They analyze the plays. The choices: don't call it, change of protection, or attack.
And right now he attacks to the outside to Bobby Ingram, and the pass is incomplete. John, we've been with the teams all week long. These are 2 of the coolest quarterbacks we've ever been around.
You know, and I thought towards the end of the week that they kind of cracked. They're cool on Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, we all are. But the day before the game they would be tight. They weren't tight yesterday. And I thought, well, the day of the game. So I walked out in the field, and Ben Roethlisberger was out there, and he was just kind of hanging out like this. I've never seen a quarterback in a Super Bowl as cool as these 2 guys.
As was Hasselbeck before the game, just soaking it all in. 3rd down and 5. Hasselbeck rolling to his left, throws. That's caught. Joe Jurevicius makes the catch for a first down up at the 44-yard line. He's tackled by Bryant McFadden.
You know, one of the things that Matt Hasselbeck said, or in fact not one of the things, he said the most important thing, and I said it earlier, was handling the Steeler pressures, and they're doing a very good job of that. I mean, their pass protection is good. They're moving Hasselbeck a little. Hasselbeck is scrambling a little, and they are handling that part of the Steeler defense.
That guy had Hasselbeck's haircut. Sean Alexander picks up 3. Don Hasselbeck, father of Matt, played in a Super Bowl as a Los Angeles Raider 22 years ago and was a winner in that game. There he is. And brother Tim is the backup quarterback for the New York Giants.
Yeah, and he's here too. He's on the left of that group. But Don Hasselbeck was a tough guy. He was a good player. He was a smart football player.
Now Alexander behind a Max Strong blocked across the 50-yard line. 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, this is what we talked about, where they want to run. Get to the edges here. Don't try and run up the middle, but get out there, get that edge block, get that linebacker block, and then cut off him. And if you look, they're just trying to run to the numbers. They're really not trying to run between the hashes on the field but they're trying to run to these angles out to the numbers.
Alexander comes out. He's already carried 8 times for 23 yards. 3rd down and 2. And the pass is caught, but then it is lost. It is incomplete. Incomplete. Never had possession. Jeremy Stevens, the tight end, hit by Chris Hope. So no fumble, incomplete, and 4th down coming up.
Yeah, we're talking about Chris Polamalu and how they move him all around. I mean, Troy Polamalu, how they move him all around. And then when that happens, then Chris Hope is a free safety. So if Polamalu is coming up and playing underneath, the guy that has to play the whole middle of the field is the guy that make the hit right there. And maybe if there's an underrated guy on this defense, it could be Chris Hope.
I'll tell you, they could have ruled that a fumble. Here's Tom Ruin's kick. Bouncing at the 1 and then going into the end zone. Again, Scobie was down there, but couldn't knock it down before it hit the goal line. Hope with the hit, causing the incomplete pass. Pittsburgh with it when we come back. A credit to the Seattle defense. Only 3 teams held without a first down in the first quarter of a Super Bowl. Baltimore came back to win that game on O'Brien's field goal at the end. New England against that dominant Chicago D in Super Bowl 20. And now tonight, still minus a first down. Pittsburgh starts its 4th drive, and every one of them have started at the 20-yard line. And Jerome Bettis is in the game for the first time. So the flashbulbs are popping, and the hometown boy has the ball faked to him and then thrown incomplete to the outside. Bryce Fisher put the pressure on that time. It'll be 2nd down and 10. For Jerome Bettis, it's a great story. From Detroit, started as a Ram. He'll go to the Hall of Fame as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Will he or won't he retire is the question. That is to be determined. And then, of course, who can ever forget the fumble in Indianapolis, the tackle by Roethlisberger. If they win the Super Bowl, that will go down in NFL lore forever.
Right, and that's going to be so special. And again, I think it's special anyway, that Ben Roethlisberger tackle after the Bettis fumble. But if they win the Super Bowl and it becomes a Super Bowl year, that will be known as the tackle. He won't have to say anything else except the tackle.
Well, you got the catch, you got the drive, you'd have the tackle. 2-yard gain there. Tubbs makes the stop. 11:50 remaining in the first half. And Jerome will come out now, 3rd down and 8. Veron Haynes is their 3rd down back.
And Seattle's been doing a very good job of stopping them on 1st and 2nd down and creating 3rd and long yardage. You brought up the poor field position the Steelers have had, but not getting any first downs. They haven't gotten out of poor field position.
Roethlisberger out of the shotgun. You'll never see the shotgun from Seattle. Not one snap in the shotgun this year for the Seahawks. And that pass is juggled and then held onto by Antoine Randall L. And that will be your first down.
Yeah, I circled that bunch out there, and you just see that's what you do against a zone. He had 3 wide receivers out there. He looks it off to the right to the single side, and then he comes back to Antoine Randall L to the side that he had the 3 wide receivers. You see you have one coming in, one going out, one short, one medium, and one deep.
Randall L loves to work over the middle, very effective there, and that time the ball almost slipped out of his hands. He was able to regather it from the 30-yard line now. And they're going to run and end around with Hines Ward with a lot of room to the outside for a first down and about a 17-yard gain before Manuel knocks him out of the bounds.
And that's the first gadget that we see from the Steelers, and that's what they try and do. Bill Cowher loves gadgets, and you love them in this type of situation when you don't have momentum. Momentum's going the other way. Everything's going the other way. You need a change, and you come back with a play like this or reverse. They call that a gadget, and it gets them to big play, and it could change momentum.
And a timeout taken here with 10:36 to play in the half. 3-0 Seattle. That last timeout was taken an injury timeout. Marquand Manuel, who tackled Ward at the end of the play, shaken up. He was out of bounds, but they had to stop it. Take a look here.
Well, you see, first of all, there's a helmet-to-helmet contact, so it could be that. And then if you look right there, it could be his ankle. Right there. You're not sure if that's a head, an ankle, or something in between.
But right now, Ettrick Pruitt comes in, second-year safety out of Southern Mississippi to replace him. Pittsburgh back-to-back first downs, on the move now at the 48-yard line with Seattle up 3-0. Fake draw, play action. Roethlisberger deep but short and picked off at the 16-yard line by Michael Boulware. Antoine Randall, the intended receiver. Roethlisberger had time off the fake, but Boulware stayed right with him, and the underthrown pass results in an interception.
Remember, Michael Boulware was a linebacker in college that they made a safety at, and he has become very good at these kinds of things.
The cluster of buildings known as the Rent Center here in Detroit, and the aerial coverage being brought to you by Budweiser Select. Ben Roethlisberger had a real hot start in each of his last 2 games, but tonight, as you take a look at the AFC Championship game in the first half against Denver, 180 yards. Tonight, 9 yards. As Hasselbeck throws, and that is caught on the outside by Bobby Ingram. And it'll be second down and 7 at the 20-yard line.
You know, it kind of looks like the Pittsburgh offense and Ben Roethlisberger in this first half so far, they don't look like they have a plan. You know, you can't say, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to throw on first down like they've done in the playoff games, or are they trying to get a running game going? And they haven't gotten anything established, and you can't see where they're going yet. You can kind of see Seattle's plan. You can't see Pittsburgh's offensive plan yet.
Steelers very, very tentative. Alexander gets ridden down by Joey Porter. Porter yet to really make his presence felt in the game, but during the course of the season, and especially in postseason, you certainly knew where number 55 was. 7th year out of Colorado State, and a guy who loves to work on the outside, work off the edge, and somebody a quarterback always has to keep an eye on, obviously.
Yeah, and he's playing that position, that right outside linebacker in a 3-man line. That's a position that Lawrence Taylor made popular. You know, that you better block him with a lineman, because if you just leave him on an edge like he is right here and block him with a back, he's going to win that battle. Walter Jones comes out and blocks him.
He goes back into pass coverage on 3rd and 3, and they get it out to Strong, and then Strong is taken down by the cornerback Deshae Townsend, and they're going to mark it a little bit short of the first down. Bill Levy will bring the chains in as Max Strong, the 13-year fullback who will go to the Pro Bowl out of Georgia. There he is. Of course, that's becoming an extinct position with a lot of teams.
Right, and that and the strong side linebacker, and you don't even hear much about those guys. And I was talking to Mike Holmgren about that the other day, and he said the slot guy and 3 wide receivers has taken his position. Now Mike Holmgren has a decision. I think in this situation, I think you have to punt.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, you look and it's just inches, and you wish you would have gotten the first down, and it's easy to say go for it, but I mean, you have momentum, you have stuff going. You're not going to let the Steelers have the ball at this position on the field.
Not at your own 26. You've dominated the game in the sense it's only 3-0, but you've had the ball 14.5 minutes to 6.5 minutes. And, of course, nothing would give the opponent more momentum than not making a 4th and 1 at your own 26.
Yeah, but it's tough for coaches and fans when some referee goes like this and he puts his hands like 3 inches apart and said that's all you have to go for a first down, and you say punting team, but you have to do it.
As most coaches say, though, you listen to your crowd and what they want to do, and pretty soon you're sitting with them. Ruins kick, caught 29-yard line by Antoine Randall, and the slippery one brings it back to the 42-yard line, and the ball is loose, but they're going to say it was down, and the whistle is blown.
Boy, did he get hit.
Ooh.
He got caught in a spin, and he got caught going sideways and got hit right in the middle of the back.
Holding his back and writhing on the ground with 8:15 left in the opening half.
It's a pillar of strength. When you see it, everybody knows what it means. It means the best in the world. All your dreams that you had as a kid growing up, wanting to be in the Super Bowl as a quarterback, to be able to hold that trophy up would just be an amazing feeling.
Big Ben from the town of Findlay, Ohio, not far from here, down I-75. Played his college football at Miami of Ohio.
Saying that Ben Roethlisberger has to throw more on first down. He's really tried 3 times and hasn't completed one yet. So you have to say he has to throw more on first down and complete them.
Randall shaken up on the punt return is not on the field. Otherwise, he'd be one of their receivers. And Willie Parker yet to get it started. Let's go to Susie Colbert.
Well, Al, here's the update on free safety Marcon Manuel. He is questionable with a left groin injury. They had him behind towels just a moment ago so they could pull his pants down and tape up his groin, and now he's just trying to get it loosened up. They're hoping he can get back in there.
And already you can see the bandage on his chin, and you've got Ettrick Pruitt in there. Manuel would be a big loss.
And remember, Manuel was the guy that took Ken Hamlin's place.
Right. Hamlin hurt in a fight outside a bar on a Sunday night in midseason and done for the season as Parker takes it up to the 45-yard line, and it'll be 3rd down and 6. And this crowd, it's a Pittsburgh-dominated crowd. I mean, the Super Bowl is supposed to be a neutral site. Well, this place before the game, when the Steelers got introduced, was about as neutral as Lake Placid was when the U.S. was playing the Soviet Union in 1980.
No, they were crazy then, but they're kind of quiet during the game. I wonder if these are really real Steeler fans, or if they just had a bunch of terrible towels they were handing out somewhere.
3rd and 6, and Randall is back in the game. 4 wideouts against 6 defensive backs. Roethlisberger's going to shovel it, and it's going to be caught by Hines Ward, and he's going to pick up a first down at the 43-yard line. And Roethlisberger is so adept at absorbing contact and getting away and then making something happen. 12-yard gain.
Yeah, that's when he's his best. Seattle Seahawks defensive coordinator John Marshall said, guys, just drip off him. And I think you see a drip off right there. And then what I like about him, he stays alive. I mean, that one, he just kind of flipped underhand out there to Hines Ward, but he keeps looking downfield, trying to make a play in the passing game, not run with the ball.
Roethlisberger is 3 of his first 9 for 21 yards. The ball is at the Seattle 43-yard line. Trying to get a running game going, and they can't. And despite not having a running game in their last 2 playoffs games, it was Roethlisberger through the air that did it. Normally, Pittsburgh loves to chew up the clock and run the ball, but they proved in their last 2 games against Indy and Denver, it doesn't have to be that way.
And that's the way that Roethlisberger wanted to do it. Remember, he told us early in the season, he said, we run on first down, run on second down, and then if we don't do well, then I get in the shotgun and we throw on third down. He said, I want to throw more on first and second down. Then they started to do it, and they were a lot more successful.
2nd down and 9. The ball is at the 43-yard line. Ward sets up on a wing. Roethlisberger throws deep over the middle, and that's caught at the 22-yard line by Cedric Wilson, who's really come on in postseason. Free agent picked up from San Francisco, and on the receiving end of a 20-yard catch here.
Yeah, this is a cover 3, and what they're trying to do is just hit the seam. And the seam is inside this corner Trufant here before you get to the safety. There's a seam there between the corner and the cover 3 and the safety. And he just hit him perfectly in that seam of the zone.
Now the ball at the 22.
Bill Cowher was saying that Cedric Wilson is really his best route runner.
Deepest penetration for the Steelers by a lot. Roethlisberger, the pump fake, throws to the corner of the end zone and off the fingertips of Hines Ward. Andre Dyson covering on the play. It'll be 2nd down.
That's one thing Ben Roethlisberger has learned, isn't it? You know, to pump off. If you're going to throw right, pump left and try and get that safety out of there, and then you really have a true one-on-one. He got the true one-on-one, and he just threw it a little long. I don't know. I mean, Hines Ward should have caught that ball, but I don't know. Had he caught it, I think he still would have been out of bounds, right?
Well, let's take a look. Yeah, he was close, sure. Agreed. Too tough to get 2 feet in. 2nd down and 10 from the 22-yard line. Ben again under some pressure. Set up the screen. It's the bus. And Bettis gets tripped up, and there's a flag down. Jerome gets to the 17-yard line, pending the call. Bill Levy, the referee, is a retired policeman and a retired fireman.
And he's a very, very good referee.
Prior to the pass, offensive pass interference, number 83. Offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
That's Heath Miller. Bill Levy was actually a high school referee about 30 years ago and reffed a game in which Mike Holmgren was an assistant coach at a San Jose high school.
Oak Grove High School, and Mike Holmgren remembered Bill Levy from that time, and Bill Levy remembered Mike Holmgren. You wonder why, and you wonder how. I don't know when I was a high school coach. I was never a high school coach, but I don't know that I could remember a referee's name. And if I wouldn't be a referee either. I was going to say, if I was a referee, I wouldn't know an assistant coach's name.
And they meet again in the Super Bowl. 2nd down and 20. Play fake. Under pressure from the outside, and that's Grant Wistrom, the former Ram, who comes in, gets around his block, and knocks down Big Ben. For the moment, takes him out of field goal range.
Grant Wistrom will always make that play. I mean, he has that motor, goes 110%. You know, he just keeps moving, He's there against Marvell Smith. He gets into him, gets his feet working, gets his hands working, gets to the outside and makes a big sack. You know, this team, the Seahawks, led the league in sacks. They had 50 sacks, but you say, well, who did it? They had 11 different guys do it.
3rd down and 28 out of the shotgun now. Roethlisberger. 3-man rush. He's going to take off. He has time. He's going to launch one, and it is going to be caught at the 3-yard line by Hines Ward. So Ben Roethlisberger is able to move out of the pocket, and then he had to be so careful about where the line of scrimmage was. He almost looked around to his left to make sure he didn't cross that line, and then he saw where the marker was and is able to launch a big pass downfield.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger told us one of his secrets in scrambling is when that end gets up the field like Wistrom does, escape to that side, get out to that side, and continue to look downfield and throw the ball. He says, I got a secret in scrambling, and then he said, but I'm not going to tell you. And then he told us, and we just saw it on that play. End up the field, tackle down, take that window and throw out of it.
Timeout. Pittsburgh. 1st and goal when we come back. 3-0 Seattle. Timeout taken by Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger, I thought, came very close to going across the line of scrimmage. Once you do that, you can't throw the ball. You can't back up. You're going to put a red line in here, and you're going to take a look at this.
Yeah, the red line is the line of scrimmage. You see that end getting up the field, the tackling, that lets him get out to the left. Now, did he throw before he got to the red line? Yes.
Yeah, oh, baby.
That was like he knew where that red line was.
Yep, and that would have been a reviewable play. Now the bus taking it to the 1-yard line. So Jerome Bettis coming home. Is this the end of the career? Might be. And what a way to end it. In your hometown in the Super Bowl. And will they give it to him again? The Bettis clan.
And you know that they're going to give it to him down here. I mean, this is what Jerome Bettis does. He runs short yardage, runs goal line. What they say, they start the game with Willie Parker, and they start the drives with Willie Parker, and they finish them with Jerome Bettis.
Steelers have been terrific inside the 5-yard line this season. One reason has been Bettis, but they're going to stop him here, setting up a very big early 3rd down play here. Leroy Hill makes the tackle.
That's a defensive coach that'll do that. He's just gonna run him in there. Seattle knows that. But watch how they come and the way they get their linebackers right there, get pressure. So you get them in the backfield, and then there's no place to cut. There's no cutback, and there's no place to go over. Seattle goal line defense played that superbly.
Pittsburgh takes us to the 2-minute warning. 3rd and goal when we come back to Super Bowl 40. 2 minutes to the half. Big Ben Roethlisberger 3rd down pass to Hines Ward on 3rd and 28 to set him up at the 1-yard line. The Steelers this season, as you can see, when they've been inside the opponent's 5, 16 touchdowns on 17 drives, and in the postseason, 3 out of 5.
You see number 72 in the huddle there. That's Barrett Brooks, a backup tackle who will play a tight end on the left side. This is going to be a tough rundown. I could see a play-action pass.
And instead it's Roethlisberger on a keeper diving, and does he get there? Yes, he does. The linesman came in. It looked like he was going to spot it. Then he came closer, and Roethlisberger is able to score the touchdown on the 11th play of the drive.
Yeah, I think the way the Seattle defense hit that second down play, I think they had to come up with something like this, where you give them the tailback, you give them the fullback, and then you let the quarterback make the play for you.
And a reviewable play, if Mike Holmgren's coaches upstairs tell him that they want this to be challenged, you can challenge this play. You take a look. Does the ball get to the goal line? I take it back about the guys upstairs. This is up to the replay official now, because we're just inside 2 minutes, just inside the 2-minute warning. Do the guys upstairs, does the replay official upstairs want to take a look at this?
I think he has to.
It is under review.
I think he has to. I think that
too critical.
That's one of the things in a big game like this, you have to review it.
They're taking a look. We'll see. Bill Levy is going to take a look at this because it's close enough. The key here is that any part of the ball goes over or touches any part of the goal line. In other words, the front of the goal line is part of the end zone. And it gets a little obscured there. The hit by D.D. Lewis. Forget about that second thrust. It's all about when he comes to the ground. Where is the ball when his elbow and hand go down? Right there.
And does any part of the ball, as you say, cross any part of the goal line? It just has to cross the plane, just break the plane, which is the front part of that goal line.
Now, one thing about Levy you should know, he has seen fit to change the call on the field only 23% of the time. That is the lowest rate of overturned plays over the last 3 seasons. Now, that's on coaches' challenges, or in situations like this, not a coach's challenge, but a review upstairs. This is a tough call.
Yeah, but I think, again, we go back to the rule, is the evidence clear?
Yep.
And if it's not clear up here, then he probably has to stay with the call, doesn't he?
I thought it was very interesting that the linesman came in, and initially it looked as if he was going to spot the ball.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the call on the field. And it's a touchdown for the Steelers.
Just any part of the ball breaking the plane of the goal line. But he either saw that it did or couldn't tell whether or not it did.
Right.
And he stayed with the call on the field.
Call on the field stands. Reed to attempt the point after. Gardocki will hold. And Jeff Reed tacks on the conversion with 1 minute and 55 seconds remaining in the opening half. And for the first time in Super Bowl 40, the Steelers on top, 7-3.
I love what I do because I love the people I do it with. And I love working with players. I love working with coaches. I love the ownership that I work for. Mr. Rooney brought me here 14 years ago. The one thing I would love to do is be able to hand him that trophy and say, this is why you brought me here. To be a part of that would be very special.
14 seasons. He's still only 48 years old. His whole family is here. May have seen the feature on the pregame show. Kathy Holmgren, wife of Mike, on a medical mission trip to the Republic of Congo. And that was planned, and Mike said, no, you're going to go ahead. I just can't envision Kathy in a sports bar in Brazzaville right now.
Well, yeah, and she's with her daughter, who's a doctor, so, the two of them have to be sweating this thing out in the Congo.
Yes. So one hopper taken at the 20-yard line by Maurice Morris, who's the backup to Alexander, and a flag thrown at the end of the play at the 39-yard line.
During the return, holding, number 57, return taken, 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's Kevin Bentley.
Bill Levy, our referee, giving a good, strong holding call. Did you hear that slap? Holding, he'll show him.
And there's the man who's called for the hold, Bentley. Halftime coming up, and that means first half highlights with Chris Berman and the gang, the Sprint halftime show. And the feature there, of course, is the live performance by the Rolling Stones. So this Pittsburgh crowd with a chant of defense, defense. Of course, Pittsburgh less than 300 miles away. Seattle about 2,500 miles from Detroit. From the 27-yard line. Hasselbeck over the middle, and that's caught by Joe Jurevicius in traffic, absorbs a hit, ball up at the 46-yard line. Seattle hustling to the line of scrimmage. They have 2 timeouts remaining.
And that was that same seam we were talking about in the cover 3. Joe Jurevicius, being a tall, wide receiver, can get body angles.
Hasselbeck feeling the pocket. Outside, he works it to Alexander. He's tackled at midfield by Tyrone Carter.
Seattle has 2 timeouts here, and again, your goal here is to get inside the 30. That's your first goal, to get in field goal position. And once you get inside the 30, then you go for the touchdown.
And Seattle takes a timeout. They have 1 left. MVPs being scrolled across that facade. You know, John, in a way, the game's starting to heat up a little bit here toward the end of the half. It reminds me a little bit, though, of the game 2 years ago between New England and Carolina, where there was not a lot that went on in the first half. It was very low scoring, and then it was a phenomenal second half.
Right, and I think it's the type of thing, you know, you spar. You want to see, you know, what they're going to do against this, what they're going to do against that. You expect a lot of blitzing by the Steelers. You haven't seen it. You know, are they going to do more of it? And then you put a plan together for the second half.
Second down and 6. Hasselbeck throwing. And that's caught by Bobby Ingram at the 40-yard line. That'll move the chains with 1:05.
The Steelers, I was saying, haven't blitzed a lot in this first half. That play they did. They brought Troy Polamalu in there, and Seattle did a good job of picking it up.
Now only a 3-man rush, and 8 are back, and the pass is launched down the right sideline and out of bounds. It's Jackson who made 5 catches in the first quarter, but none here, covered by Ike Taylor, and he was out of bounds.
He only had 1 foot in on that play, but remember, you go back to yesterday and Matt Hasselbeck, and you know who's going to be the big player in this game, and he kept smiling and saying Darrell Jackson. I think Darrell Jackson's going to have a big game. He had the left foot in, he didn't get the right foot in.
Ooh. Very close.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, that's a receiver on that. I mean, he got a little too close to that sideline. That's why you always want to have a cushion between yourself and the sideline of about 5 yards.
Did he get close? No, they're going to take a timeout, or the Steelers. I thought for a second they're going to review it upstairs. I don't see what's reviewable about it. It was pretty clear, but timeout is taken now by Pittsburgh defensively. A little spotlight recap of the first half. The Boston College product, Hasselbeck, with 118 passing yards, threw 5 times to Jackson in the first quarter alone. Ben Roethlisberger, a very slow start, but then a huge play on that 3rd and a mile, scrambling to his left, finding Ward, and setting up the Pittsburgh touchdown. So now 2nd and 10. Holmgren on the mic. Talks right into Hasselbeck's helmet.
And they have 1 timeout, which is big because he doesn't have to throw the ball to the sideline. He can still throw it inside because he has a timeout.
And they're going to give it to Alexander, so they're going to run it for about 4. But Kiesel makes the tackle. The ball at the 36-yard line. Clock running down under 40.
I guess when you think you have 1 timeout, you can also run. I don't understand that play.
Yeah. Josh Brown loosening up. Clock ticking down to 25. Normally they're quickly paced, and now taking a lot of time.
Well, and it's way too much time.
Whoa,
I mean, you run,
boy.
and then this time is not smart play.
Oh, boy. And timeout taken by Pittsburgh with the play clock ticking down with 13 seconds. And it could wind up leaving a timeout on the wall here. So the Seahawks, who have been so professional, especially in postseason, at that tempo game of the pace. They had just called a timeout, and now they go up to the line of scrimmage, and they wasted all of that time there.
You know, and Matt Hasselbeck was going back and forth, and it looked like he was going to be in the shotgun. And remember, Seattle doesn't have a shotgun, and this is when you would be using one. But the play that I didn't understand is a running play. And then they probably called two plays. You know, a running play, and then followed by a passing play with no huddle, and they got it discombobbled and they got confused. So they took really too much time. And then I don't understand why the Steelers took a timeout.
Yeah. 3rd down and 6 at the 36-yard line. Right now you'd be looking at about a 54-yard field goal. And Hasselbeck is going to go deep down the sideline, but that one's going to be out of bounds for Jackson. So now you have 7 seconds. Very unusual, because for a Mike Holmgren coach team and the offensive prowess and playing really smart at the end of halves and games, to get caught in this situation where you have to kick a field goal of this distance with 7 seconds left, and you're going to leave a timeout up on the wall, is stunning.
It doesn't make any sense. A run doesn't make any sense, and then not running a medium-sized type pass in the middle.
54 yards for Josh Brown, and that kick is no good. A very weird sequence for the Seattle offense to end this first half with 2 seconds left. One more snap for Pittsburgh.
That will make a coach scratch his head, because I think I'm scratching my head up here. Again, the run, and then you wonder why you didn't go, having a timeout, why you didn't, throw it in and get in field goal position. And if you still have some time, then you go for the touchdown.
Sometimes you overthink. We'll end it with a Roethlisberger kneel down, and that will be the end of the first half of Super Bowl 40. Low scoring half. 7-3. Let's go to Michelle.
All right, standing alongside Bill Cowher, you have the lead. It certainly wasn't easy getting it. What's the biggest puzzle you've got to solve for the second half?
In all honesty, all we got to do is Ben's got to settle down. I think he'll be okay. If he can settle down, we'll be okay. We're going to have to just keep working the running game, Michelle. I mean, we got to be patient with it, and our defense has done a phenomenal job of keeping this good offense to 3 points. But if Ben can settle down and get a feel for the game, we got to get the run game going. I think we'll be all right.
Bill, thank you very much. Let's send it over to Susie.
Sorry, ball cross the line. You're telling me the ball, okay.
Mike Holmgren arguing with the officials right now as he walks off the field, engaged in a discussion with Bill Levy. Mike, what did all the confusion come from?
Well, they're telling me upstairs the ball didn't cross the line, and he's telling me it did for the touchdown down there on the replay.
Thanks, Mike.
Right, Susie. Well, he addresses another play, the earlier play, instead of what really happened at the end of the first half.
Yeah, that was really strange there at the first half. I mean, the play call and then Darrell Jackson running 2 patterns so close to the sideline.
So the Seattle Seahawks, who held the lead for a good part of the half, go back to the locker room trailing by 4. Chris and the gang coming up. First half highlights, Sprint halftime show with the Rolling Stones. Coming up, Super Bowl 40 from Ford Field in Detroit. Pittsburgh 7, Seattle 3. And now the second half from Ford Field in Detroit. Super Bowl 40, Pittsburgh on top, 7-3. The big plays, the key plays in the opening half included what would have been a Seattle touchdown, but a push off here by Darrell Jackson against Chris Hope. That was negated, and their only scoring was a field goal. Then the biggest play of the half, 3rd down and 28, and Roethlisberger, just before he steps across the line of scrimmage, launches it to Hines Ward. He makes the catch. Then, at least in Mike Holmgren's eyes, the disputed touchdown by Roethlisberger with a booth review upheld by Bill Levy. So the first half, it's close. Not going to win any Academy Awards, but we've talked about games that do break out in the second half. What kind of a pace and tone do you expect now in the second half, John?
Well, I think if Seattle would go to that pace that they started with. Remember, they started the up-tempo and they started hitting those quick outs and those types of things, and then they got away from it. I think that they should go back to that and maybe stop running those sweeps and maybe trying to start and run inside now. And I think, as Bill Cowher was saying just before the half, I don't know that they really have a plan, and if they do, it doesn't seem to be working. He said what his plan is Ben has to settle down and they have to get their running game going. Now, I think at some point, this game is going to be put in Ben Roethlisberger's hands. I mean, they've had, in the playoffs, they've had that thing where they'd get ahead, they'd get the lead, and they could come and run in the second half. It doesn't look like this is going to be that kind of second half for them.
They come down to the quarterbacks on each side. Now, at the end of the first half, a lot of confusion with Seattle. To clear that up, let's go to Susie Colbert.
Well, I asked Mike Holmgren about it, and he said that what happened was he called a play, and Matt Hasselbeck audibled. He called another play, and Matt Hasselbeck audibled again. Then he said the Steelers called a timeout, which was smart on their part because they lost 10 seconds. But he said really their offense is operating fairly efficiently. He said 3 touchdown passes were out by just a foot. He told his guys at halftime, we just need to settle down. We're almost there. Michelle?
Well, Susie, speaking of settling down, I was told just before the half by Bill Cowher that Ben Roethlisberger needed to settle down. I asked him just now how he planned to do that, get him to settle down. He said Ben really does that for himself, and we're confident he'll do it. We give all the credit in the world to Seattle's defense. They did a good job of slowing down our run. We're going to continue to try to mix the run with the pass and get some momentum going. We've got to convert on third downs, and we can't accept the penalties that slowed us down early in this ballgame. Al?
All right, thank you, Michelle. And they have mixed the pass and run at a 50-50 ratio in the first half with 13 rushes, 13 passes. We have Jerome Bettis mic'd up for the game, and here was Bettis when Roethlisberger scored the only touchdown of the first half.
Yeah! Woo! I caught two, Tuber. Good job, baby. Good job, baby. Good job.
I saw him
stop that guy.
So I tried to go over, and that's why I got hit from
That's when he got caught.
And that's the scene on the sideline afterwards. And then, of course, they had to wait through a booth review, and the call was upheld.
That was a pretty good block by Jerome Bettis, though. He was proud of it. He got Lufa Tutupu. And if someone's going to make that play on the goal line, it would be Tutupu.
So Pittsburgh will get the ball as we start the third quarter. Ricardo Coakley will receive the kick. Josh Brown will send it toward the end zone. 7-3. Pittsburgh on top. Second half underway in Super Bowl 40. Coakley from the 4, coming straight up the middle. And then popped by Jordan Babineau as he gets to the 24-yard line.
They better stop popping.
Yeah. Little tussling going on.
I think this is a big drive here. I mean, if Pittsburgh could go down and score, then they could really play their type of game. Then they could get into that run mode, and they could get more aggressive and blitz more on defense. Now, if Seattle doesn't want that to happen, then they need, a big defensive series here.
And like a great bullpen closer in baseball, few coaches are better than Bill Cowher at making sure you have a victory once you get a decent-sized lead. More on that later. Ettrick Pruitt, meanwhile, does start the second half. Marquand Manuel got hurt in the first half, hasn't been back. Willie Parker starts at running back from the 25-yard line, and Roethlisberger from a short 3-step drop throws it a little bit behind Ward, covered by Andre Dyson. And let's take a look at some of the key numbers through the first 30 minutes. Neither team doing a lot on the ground, which is sort of surprising in Seattle's case with the league rushing champion. Ben Roethlisberger, that a good percentage of those passing yards on that one key pass on 3rd and 28, 37 in fact.
Marquand Manuel will not return now.
So he is out. We're going to see Pruitt for the rest of the day, and you're going to see Parker bursting one over the right side. They call him Fast Willie Parker, and Fast Willie Parker has just gone 75 yards for a touchdown.
That was the change in momentum that the Steelers were talking about. They had 3 wide receivers. Seattle was in nickel defense, so this is what you want to do. Get them to think that you're going to pass. Then you get a little counter, a good block there. You just get by that safety. Again, they had that 8th man up. Once you get by with that nickel, you only have 1 safety back there, and you outrun that guy.
Parker had 6 carries for 11 yards before that one.
Alan Faneca made a heck of a block. Did you see him pull and get that block that sprung Parker?
That's why he may be the best guard in the league. Fast Willie Parker out of North Carolina has just made it an 11-point game in a flash. Longest rushing play in the history of the Super Bowl. Marcus Allen had held the record. And if you follow football, you can see the Allen run in your eye, going one way, coming back the other way in Tampa for the Raiders against Washington in Super Bowl 18. A phenomenal run. This one, just a quick shot over the right side. A great block by Alan Faneca and 75 yards for Fast Willie Parker.
You know, when the Steelers have success running, they usually run to the left side behind Faneca. Then when they run to the right, they pull Faneca. So either way, they're getting in behind Alan Faneca, one of the best guards in football. The best lineman in football.
You said key early drive. Here comes another one.
Yeah, the Steelers needed that. Now they can really put pressure on Seattle.
Here's Josh Scobie taking the kick from the 4-yard line. And Scobie gets taken down by Kiesel up at the 29-yard line, and back we go to the longest run in any of the 40 Super Bowls.
Yeah, we'll see Alan Faneca right here. Watch Michael Boulware. When he comes up and misses, then he breaks through and he gets right on the safety Pruitt, and Pruitt takes a bad angle. So you see Faneca pull, make the tackle right there on Leroy Hill. Boulware miss, and now the only guy is Pruitt, and he's the backup or the third safety. He takes a bad angle, and then Willie Parker gets a touchdown.
From the 29-yard line, Hasselbeck goes to work, and it is juggled and dropped by Alexander, who a few years ago was catching a lot of passes, but this year averaged about 1 reception per game. Covered by Higgins. The Seahawks, statistically, how have they done? Hasselbeck, 118 yards in the half. Alexander, the rushing champion, averaged better than 5 yards per carry during the regular season, 3.1. And then Jackson had those 5 receptions all in the first quarter. Now you've got Jackson lining up in the backfield here, number 82. And they'll send him in motion on 2nd down and 10. Hasselbeck goes the other way, and the pass is caught out in the flat by Maurice Morris. And he is taken down up at about the 35-yard line by Ike Taylor. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Yeah, Morris is a running back, so they split him out as a wide receiver. Put the wide receiver, Darrell Jackson, in the backfield. Put him in motion on the other side, and then throw it back to this side to Mo Morris.
Third down and 4.
That'll 2 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 6 defensive backs, and they were going to come on a blitz. Hasselbeck just held that snap count.
Third down and 4, might have changed it to a run. Gives it to Max Strong for a first down. Max Strong, who of course is noted for his blocking, go to the Pro Bowl because of that, but occasionally gets the ball. In fact, he had a big run in the playoff game against Washington.
Yeah, and that's what teams try and do. When it's not 3rd and long, and the Steelers go into that 2 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 6 defensive backs. They want to run against them and get them out of it. Watch Troy Polamalu miss there. You don't see that an awful lot.
That's Seattle's first rushing first down. They have 8 through the air. Now you've got Alexander to the short side of the field, and a little bit of what has made him the rushing champ and the league MVP in evidence on that play. Steve Hutchinson, the guard, leading the way, John.
You know, I was going to say, Al, I think that's probably one of the adjustments that Mike Holmgren and the Seahawks made is they were trying to stretch that thing and get it outside and get it to the sidelines on a sweep, and now they're getting it out there and cutting it back. And I think you just can't keep going to the sideline. At some point, you have to get a kick out and then cut back inside it. They didn't let the edges cut them back.
That was a 21-yard gain. Play fake, buys time, throws, and it is juggled and then incomplete. Jeremy Stevens in amongst the defensive triangle there. And Stevens, of course, in the papers all week long with the back and forth with Joey Porter. The tight end over the middle just couldn't hang on at the end.
And Jeremy Stevens is 6'7", so he's a big target down the middle. And Matt Hasselbeck thinks all you have to do is throw it up over the linebackers and you'll get a completion. He threw it up over the linebackers. That was a perfect throw. Jeremy Stevens just didn't make the play.
2nd down and 10. Stevens comes out. Back they go to a 3-receiver set. And Alexander in the backfield, and Alexander with the football. Taking it to the 32-yard line where the linebacker Larry Foote makes the tackle. It'll set up a 3rd down and 5 at the 32.
I think if they can keep this mixture up and get Sean Alexander going in this second half and make the Steelers play both run and pass, I think they'll have an advantage. If they get one-dimensional, the Steeler defense could take over the game. But the Seahawks right now aren't letting them do that.
Alexander comes out on 3rd and 5. That's conventional. There's no threat as a pass receiver.
That's a 2-3 dime again. 2 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 6 defensive backs. See if they run again.
Oh, they just do get the play off. And then a fade is thrown toward Jackson. And Jackson gets tangled up. Incidental contact, no flag, and an incomplete pass. Chris Hope put the pressure on that time on the safety blitz.
And Jackson didn't even look like he knew that the ball was coming. And that's one of those things when you get that blitz, he has to know that the ball's coming. Although he did take a peek there, he tried to get a little push off, then he couldn't relocate the ball.
Now a 50-yard attempt for Josh Brown. If he misses it, Pittsburgh will get it at the 40, and he has missed it. So they try a 50-yard field goal. It's just wide left, and now near midfield, the Steelers have the ball and an 11-point lead.
Well, the Seahawks defense already down free safety Marquand Manuel, now down cornerback Andre Dyson as well. He came into this game with an injured quad. They've been stretching it, trying to work it out, but he's obviously in some pain now.
He is, and Kelly Herndon takes over, the ex-Bronco. Number 31 will take his spot. After the missed field goal, they'll start from the 40-yard line off the play fake to Bettis, and Roethlisberger's pass is caught. Great catch off the top of the turf by Hines Ward. Hines Ward just inches above the field turf here at Ford Field, makes the catch.
You know, doesn't Hines Ward make an amazing play every time you watch him? And the play, he's the inside receiver here, and the play could be, a catch. It could be a block, but this guy just makes big plays. And Roethlisberger was telling us the other day that on most passes that the Steelers have, Hines Ward is the first read.
Averaged over 14 yards per catch. So let Plexico Burress go to New York. Ward took over as the guy. And the bus rumbles to the 40-yard line. And speaking of the bus, we have him mic'd up.
You gotta know that corner is coming, is gonna be coming out. So you have to go inside of him. Based on his angle way coming in, you're not gonna be able to get outside of him. See what I'm saying? So you see him, stick him out, back inside. What?
That's what you say to a guy after he makes a long run for a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
2nd and 4. Rocky Bernard chases Roethlisberger, and the pass is incomplete. And this is a very key defensive series here for Seattle. I mean, think of what's happened to the Seahawks. They led 3-0. they could have been up by a lot more. They had an offensive pass interference. They had a couple of catches deep downfield out of bounds. They had the Roethlisberger 3rd and long, which he converted. They had the disputed touchdown. They had the clock mismanagement at the end of the first half. They had Willie Parker run 75 yards. They missed a 50-yard field goal. This is big for Seattle right here.
Right, on that last offensive drive, you just have the feeling that they could move the ball, but they can't finish the deal.
3rd down and 4. Roethlisberger swings it to the outside. That's Ward. He breaks the tackle. He's inside the 30. He takes it to the 23-yard line. Got out of Kelly Herndon's grasp. Herndon, the guy playing in place of the injured Dyson. 16 yards.
Lofa Tatupu is going to come on a blitz, so what that's telling Ben Roethlisberger, when he sees him coming and he knows that he has man-to-man on the outside, Tatupu doesn't get picked up, which also tells Roethlisberger, I better get the ball out of here quickly, and he does to Hines Ward for a first down.
At the 23-yard line. The bus, big seam, first down to the 10.
Yeah, we talk about Alan Faneca, and you know if the Steelers make a big run, this guy here is usually involved somewhere. He'll pull right, here he pulls left, he gets the kickoff, and Jerome Bettis just gets in and just cuts right inside him. He protects that ball, and then, you know, Jerome Bettis is one of those guys that always carries the ball in one arm. It's his right arm. He always carries the ball in his right arm.
1st and 10 just outside the 10. Conceivably, they could get a first down without a touchdown. They'd be at about the 1-inch line. Gain of about 3. Talked to Jerome Bettis, as have a lot of people recently, about will he or won't he retire. I got, you know, sometimes a guy knows, but he just won't say. I'm not sure he knows.
Well, he said he hadn't talked to Bill Cowher about it yet, and the one thing he would want to talk to him about is, does he have to practice? He said he practiced every day this week, this year, and he doesn't think that he can do that.
He said to us the other day, my body's okay. The question is, how will they use the body? 2nd and 6. Jerome again. And this time he gets taken down at the 6-yard line. Kelly Herndon is the first guy there. It'll be 3rd down.
You know, and that's what they like to do. I mean, we talked about this before. You know, if they get the lead, then they get the lead. Then Bill Cowher just folds his arms and says, let's just keep running. And then, you know, we have good defense. We'll play aggressive defense. In fact, that's the look there that says, let's just keep running. Well, I don't know what this look is.
Well, he had the arms folded. Now Bettis is going to come out. You got Haynes coming into the game, and he had the arms folded, but with Haynes coming in on 3rd down.
That was going to be a passing situation, and Bill Cowher ran down to the 25-yard line.
Yep. Arms unfolded. You can be part of the process to select the MVP of the game. You can vote during the 4th quarter at superbowl.com or from your mobile phone. Here comes a big, big play. Mike Holmgren's team trying to keep it a 2-possession game, hold him to a field goal. 3rd down and 6 from the 7-yard line. Haynes is their 3rd down back. He's in the backfield. They send him in motion and empty it. 4-man rush. It's flipped to the outside and intercepted by Kelly Herndon. Herndon to the 30. Roethlisberger is the only guy out in front of him, and he gets blocked out of the play. And then Herndon finally runs out of gas on a gigantic play on a pass intended for Cedric Wilson. So here are the Seahawks just trying to hold him to a field goal, and the next thing you know, they are right back in the game.
Once I saw the Steelers get that ball, put Jerome Bettis in, get down in the red zone, Bill Cowher folded arms, I didn't think I would see this. He said Herndon just undercuts that one. He's tried to get Cedric Wilson to the outside. He just undercuts it, goes right up the field, gets a good block there by D.D. Lewis.
So a big, big play for Seattle would have been to hold him to an incompletion instead of an interception. And now Alexander, after starting to the right, goes to the left and takes it to the 18-yard line.
And this is another opportunity for Seattle. I said, you know, they haven't been able to close the deal. They haven't been able to finish it. You know, they get plays, they get down there, but they haven't been able to get scores.
Herndon, again, he's the guy who came in. Susie talked about Dyson out of the game. And then Herndon had gotten beaten on a Ward pass reception. Then the big play here for the former Bronco, 76-yard run back.
And you can see Kelly Herndon, he took an intercept angle. He undercut that thing.
2nd down and 6. The ball at the 16-yard line. Hasselback throws over the middle, and the pass a little behind and off the left shoulder of Bobby Ingram. Incomplete. 3rd down and 6.
He had that double slant in there. He had Ingram going in first and Jeremy Stevens coming in behind him. And I think they got too close. You like a bigger separation in that. When you have two guys running the same pattern, you don't want them that close. And you see what happened? Stevens got held up and held is what happened.
3rd down and 6 from the 16. Alexander in the eye. The play fake. In the pocket. Hasselbeck throws. Touchdown, Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens, who had dropped 2, makes his first catch of the game. 16 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, they've been putting Jeremy Stevens as a tight end in these playoffs and always running him. Here he is right here, and running him on a post. Now they start him up, and Polamalu starts to play that post. They kind of run a pick down there. They have a guy coming into the post, and then they have Jeremy Stevens going to the corner, and they kind of picked off out there. Watch Polamalu. He's 43. He has Jeremy Stevens. He kind of gets picked off by the post coming in there as the tight end goes to the corner.
The extra point by Josh Brown. It's become more conventional for coaches, especially with 21 minutes and 45 seconds left in regulation, not to necessarily go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. They settled to make it a 4-point game. Herndon's pick was huge. It's 14-10.
It's the ultimate team honor. It's a symbol of all the hard work and the success that it would take to be called world champs. There's many awards that they give out to individuals, MVP, Pro Bowl, but there's only one award they give out for a team, and that's the Lombardi Trophy.
Hasselbeck and the Seattle Seahawks in a lot better shape than they were about 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes on your watch. Herndon with the interception. There he is in the middle. It's the longest interception return in the history of the Super Bowl. Willie Brown, playing for John Madden's Raiders in 11, held the record 75 yards.
Remember that? You still see it on highlights, and Bill King makes the call, and there goes old man Willie, he called.
Holy Toledo. Touchback. Ike Taylor downs it there to the 20. John goes to the clicker here.
Yeah, let's watch it. Touchdown again. Here's Jeremy Stevens. Now he's going to come up and he's going to run a corner. Now Darrell Jackson come in here, and as he comes in the post, he kind of slows up here and goes in front of Polamalu. And you'll see that it kind of forms a pick. If we can look at it right here, you see what happens? We got 4 guys in there, and then when they break out, Stevens is wide open. So you had a post by Darrell Jackson and a corner by Jeremy Stevens. I think it was important if you saw the way Jackson kind of slowed up instead of trying to get beyond Polamalu, he stopped and went or slowed up and went in front of him, and then he was kind of picked off so that Jeremy Stevens could get to that corner.
Chuck Jacoby is the injured Steeler as they work on him on the field. I mean, just an amazing turn of events, talking about all the things that had gone wrong for Seattle over the last couple of minutes of the first part of this half. And we were about ready to put up a graphic where Bill Cowher is almost unbeaten when he leads by 11 or more, and now all of a sudden it's a ball game again.
When they got down there and they put in Jerome Bettis, and then you see Bill Cowher over this stand like this, I'm sure he was going to take the air out of the ball and just keep running. Then when he got in 3rd down, I thought he would still do it or go to shotgun, and then when he didn't do it, you know, that is not Bill Cowher-like, because you'd think, okay, I'll run it. I'll probably score with the run. If I don't, I'll kick a field goal, and we'll be ahead 17-3.
And then throw a pass out into the flat, the riskiest kind of pass. Parker starts this drive with a 3-yard run to the 23-yard line with about 6.5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
Mike Holmgren is dodged one there. But that was a play that they'd worked on. You know, as I said, in the playoffs, they'd been running Stevens on the post and, you know, throwing that ball deep to him. That time they kind of started on post, run Jackson on the post, and ran him back to the corner.
2nd down and 7. Marcus Tubbs is in there. Bernard has not come back into the game after the interception run back. Came up a little bit gimpy. Here's Parker, tackled there by Lofa Tutupu. So right now, Seattle minus Marquand Manuel is out for the game. The cornerback Andre Dyson was hurt, and of course Herndon took his spot. And the defensive tackle Bernard, another starter, is on the bench at the moment.
And Herndon comes in and makes a big play. When we went to practice the other day, Dyson didn't practice at all, and the guy that was doing all the work and got all the practice, at least that day, was Kelly Herndon.
3rd down and 4 now to the shotgun from the 26-yard line. And it's an inside handoff, and it's the 3rd down back, and that's for Ron Haynes, and he does not get the 1st down. He gets only to the 29-yard line, so Seattle with a defensive stop, 3 and out, 5:20 to go in the period. Let's go to Susie Colbert.
Well, the word on Rocky Bernard, the defensive tackle, is he is doubtful with the right hamstring pull. It looked like he was hit by a sniper on that Kelly Herndon interception and return. He was trying to lay a block, and you could see it just go.
So they're minus their starting free safety. They're minus a cornerback, the starting cornerback, and now Bernard, a starting tackle.
What do you think they were looking at that they made him take his pants off?
I don't know.
I don't know that you check a hamstring that way.
They have 1 5-second delay. I don't even want to risk a guess. Gardaki's punt fielded at the 25-yard line by Peter Warwick. Warwick looking for a block and doesn't get it. Good coverage there by the Pittsburgh Steelers. James Harrison for the tackle with 4:42 to play in the 3rd quarter. Seattle with the ball. Pittsburgh with the lead. What kind of a finish do we have in store in this one? From the 27-yard line, that is dropped. So go figure. Jeremy Stevens, 3 drops and 1 catch. The catch for a touchdown.
You know, and he was one of the guys that, you know, Matt Hasselbeck talked about, Darrell Jackson, and the other guy that, you know, he talked about was Jeremy Stevens. You know, of having big days today, and you can see that you know they have things planned for him. And we saw the touchdown in the corner and some of these things, you know, send a guy deep and put him underneath. So they have plans for Jeremy Stevens in the passing game.
2nd and 10. Jackson had those 5 catches as a flag is thrown by Bill Levy.
Number 37, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Sean Alexander, and that'll get disputed by Hasselbeck.
You know, you look at that, you know, that Jeremy Stevens dropping the ball, the drops he had, and then you remember last year, and, you know, the biggest problem they had on offense was dropping passes, and they kind of got out of that this year. I mean, they've been a lot better in that area.
Yeah, that has been the bugaboo for Seattle, especially in postseason play last year against St. Louis. Chance to win the game, or at least send it into overtime. A drop at the end, 2nd and 15. Hasselbeck's going to launch it, going deep, one-on-one, and incomplete. The coverage is perfect by Townsend on Joe Juravicius.
That's one of the things that they're trying to get here is always have Joe Juravicius on that backside. You know, like have 2 or 3 receivers on one side, Joe Juravicius over there by himself, get a one-on-one, and again, because, you know, of his size, just get the ball up there and let him out muscle for it.
3rd down and 15.
There's that 2-3 dime again. And there's no problem here because there's no way that Seattle's going to run and hurt you in this defense.
Hasselbeck, a lot of time underneath Max Strong, and Strong is a little short of the 1st down by about 2, so that penalty proves costly. It was 3rd and 15. It'll be 4th and 2. Carter makes the tackle. Tom Ruin comes in to punt.
And Hasselbeck had plenty of time that time, and again, because Pittsburgh just rushed 3, but then made him throw into 8, and everyone went deep. They had twin safeties deep, and they had everyone off, and made him throw that short one, and then come up, make the tackle, and make him punt.
Tom Ruin's 5th punt of the game. Antoine Randall L, always a threat to break one. Back to receive it. To Hopper. Randall L from the 16, and the former Indiana quarterback stays in bounds and brings it back out to the 36-yard line, where he's tackled by Isaiah Kaczynski. Now tonight, right after the Super Bowl, Check out an all-new special episode of Grey's Anatomy. It's the winner of a Golden Globe. It is a tremendous show in the mold of Lost, Desperate Housewives, and Grey's Anatomy. A great show, and you'll see it tonight on ABC right after Super Bowl 40.
Yeah, with Randall L. returning that punt, don't you feel that there's another gadget play coming up here someplace on this drive, especially if they get a first down here?
Yeah, they're due for one. I think they'd like to be a little bit closer to the middle of the field.
They'd like to be in that alumni area between the 40s.
And that pass is incomplete. And the coverage is good on the second tight end, Jeremy Tooman, to Tupu with the coverage.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. I mean, you'll see him at the line of scrimmage when you run, and then you think, geez, we ought to be able to throw against him, but he gets so deep that he can read everything. Now he sees pass, and he turns, and he gets a good jump. Now the tight end just runs right into him, but he has that coverage. I mean, he doesn't get up in there tight so you can get play action pass or pass on him. He's back far enough, but he will meet that run on the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 10. Roethlisberger steps up to avoid the pressure. He's going to take off with it. And he is going to be thrust out of bounds by D.D. Lewis in front of the Pittsburgh bench up at about the 45-yard line. D.D. Lewis at 241 pounds and Roethlisberger at 241.
Yeah, but that's one that you don't want. I know it's a Super Bowl and it's a second half and it's all or nothing, but you hate to see your quarterback take on anyone with his passing shoulder. I mean, if he wants to turn and try and take it on with his left, okay, I think he has to put this ball in his left hand and just got to get out of bounds because he's going to get knocked out of bounds anyway. And before this game is over, you're going to need his arm.
He is a tough cat, but don't forget he missed action during the season. Twice he hurt his right knee, once his left knee, playing with a thumb, hairline fracture of that. And Roethlisberger, after pump faking, throws for Ward, and that is incomplete. So the Seattle defense on the last two Pittsburgh series has done the job, and they'll punt again.
They're talking about Ben Roethlisberger. You see him playing with the glove. He did play with the glove last year, and everyone got on him. Anytime he'd have a bad day, you'd say it's a glove. This year he has a fracture and a chip in that thumb, and he has a brace on underneath there, so he needs to wear the glove to hold the brace on the fractured thumb.
And you talked about you don't want to see a quarterback doing that. I don't know exactly what happened, but when you saw Ben bend over, something happened on that play. 4th down and 2 with Gardocki to punt.
Remember Mark Bulger when he did that? Sure. He took on a block with his right shoulder.
Just about ended his season, too, against Indianapolis. And that kick is going to get down inside the 5-yard line. So the Steelers will back Seattle up to its own 2.5 with 2:41 to play in the third. Roethlisberger putting his shirt back in. We go to Susie.
Well, just watching Matt Hasselbeck between series there took Jeremy Stevens' hand. You could see him gesturing to him, just stay with it. The drops are okay. Then he sat down with each one of his receivers, starting with Bobby Ingram and then moving to Joe Jaravicius. Sat down, looked at the photos, trying to decipher where the holes in this defense are.
And now Hasselbeck will take over. And one reason they get backed up here is I think Warwick should not have let that punt go. He had a chance to field it.
And now it looks like that Pittsburgh crowd is here, and they know what to do. Look at that end zone there.
Well, it's the end of the third quarter. The crowd is close to the players, and Alexander gives them a little bit of breathing space. Farrier makes the tackle. It's a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5 at the 7.
Yeah, we get here towards the end of the third quarter, and you start feeling that finality. I mean, there's no way that anyone's going to get down now. I mean, you may get hurt, but you're not going to get down. I mean, this is where adrenaline comes. Everything you have, your whole season boils down to this. Everyone knows the winners. They forget the losers.
And a few legacies as well. And Hasselbeck's going to take off, and he's going to run for a first down as he's up to the 16-yard line. And Clark Higgins is down. So the outside linebacker, a key part of the Pittsburgh defensive scheme, needs a moment.
Yeah, you look at Matt Hasselbeck, and you don't think of him as a runner, but he's a very good runner. This is a bootleg. You see, he fakes the run to the left, and then he comes out here on a bootleg pass. He has the crosser who was covered, so he had to run. He had one guy on the outside, then he has Bobby Ingram coming on the cross. He sees that he doesn't have either thing. He's not going to force it in there, so he turns and runs with it.
Here's what happened to Higgins. A kick by his own man, Aaron Smith. So he has to come out at least for one play. James Harrison takes his place, number 92. And it'll be first down and 10. Clock starts to run again under 2 minutes to play. A little less than 17 minutes left in regulation. In the Super Bowl, in a 4-point game. Play fake. Out in the flat. Caught. Short gain, and then it's over. There's no fumble there. Ryan Hannum, the second tight end. Ball whistled dead before it came out.
Well, this has to be an idea that Mike Holmgren has now that he wants to bootleg, because on the first down play he bootlegged, on the third down play he bootlegged to the right, then he comes right back with another bootleg. See, both backs go to the right, and you see Hasselbeck bootlegs out here to his left. So he bootlegged right and then came right back with another bootleg, this time to the left.
Second down and 7. Hasselbeck throws, and that is going to be caught for a first down as Ryan Hannum again makes the catch and wrestles it away from Larry Foote to move the chains.
Ryan Hannum is the second tight end for the Seahawks, and he's a guy that's usually in there for blocking. You know, Jeremy Stevens is a pretty good receiver, tall guy, not a good blocker. Ryan Hannum is a good blocker.
From the 27. Pass thrown on the run, making the catch. Bobby Ingram gets it out close to midfield at the 48-yard line. Hasselbeck looking over the bench. They can let the clock run out to end the period and turn it around, and that's what will probably, well, I was going to say be the case, but now Hasselbeck's going to huddle up here, and they will attempt to run off one more play before the end of the third quarter. And that will be a pass to the left side that is incomplete, and that will do it. So some Super Bowls are over after the third quarter. A lot of them have been. Not this one. 15 minutes left in regulation. Herndon's pick, key play of the game. 14-10, Pittsburgh leading Seattle. Our coverage of the Super Bowl resumes after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Detroit, Super Bowl 40. Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya, Susie Culver. 15 minutes to go in regulation. Pittsburgh on top 14-10. Who goes home with the Lombardi Trophy?
This is a heck of a drive Seattle's in when you think that they started on their own 2-yard line.
They have had a lot of drives this season of 80 or more yards. That would be nothing new. You've got Clark Higgins back in the game now. And the fourth quarter starts with an Alexander run as he slants off the left side and takes the ball to the 46-yard line.
You want to see one of the reasons that you can't run inside, and you see the guy right there, number 98, is Casey Hampton. I mean, he is so good inside, and then he's pretty good running down the line of scrimmage. In fact, he makes a tackle, but watch him here, and he is so big and strong, and there's no way that if you don't get into him and get him cut, that he's not going to make the play anywhere between the hash marks and the numbers. You say, why doesn't Seattle run more inside? That guy right there is a big reason.
Third down and 5 from the 47-yard line. Hasselbeck looked left, goes right, picks up the first down. Bobby Ingram, big catch, and is taken down at the 30-yard line by Ike Taylor. Big third down conversion.
That was bunch out there, and that was all Matt Hasselbeck. I mean, he had good pass protection, and that was about his third read. I mean, he's gonna come. Watch it. Here's the bunch up here, so he knows that he has 3 wide receivers out there. He has a short guy, a medium guy, and a deep guy, and they drop off and leave the short guy wide open. Hasselbeck looked deep and then came back to short.
They've already moved 68 yards on this drive and a few more here as Alexander comes off a Max Strong block to pick up about 7 yards. the largest deficit ever overcome to win a Super Bowl. Washington against Denver back in San Diego in Super Bowl 22. Denver led 10-0 in the end of the quarter, and by halftime it was 34-10. The Giants against Buffalo in the game in which Norwood misses the field goal at the end. The Giants overcoming a 9-point deficit in that one.
Yeah, I think if I were Seattle, and maybe they're doing it now, this was an official's timeout, I would go to that up-tempo thing that they started in the game with.
Seattle was down by 11, and right now they've got another first down as Alexander's over the left side. There's Polamalu. It's so interesting because the stars, the defensive stars, it's Polamalu 43 and Porter 55. They've been in some of the action, and of course sometimes you take people out of the game. But whatever Seattle is doing in this regard, John, neither guy has been that big a factor today.
No, and they've been trying to stay away from Polamalu. I mean, some of their plays are adjusted to where he lines up, and it's the same thing with Joey Porter. They're always going to have blockers on him, not let him have a free edge.
Seattle pressing the pace, and the pass is caught over the middle, and that's Jeremy Stevens who takes the ball to the 1-yard line. So the tight end, and what a day he's had, but there's a flag down. A flag and holding.
Number 75 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's the right tackle. It's Sean Locklear holding that time.
Yeah,
holding Clark Hagans.
He was holding Clark Hagans. Hagans came back in, and you're going to see him rush from the outside here. Locklear makes a pretty good move with that right arm. Ooh, I didn't see holding. I mean, you have to be able to jam up in there. And, there may have been holding, but it wasn't in that picture. I mean, Sean Locklear wasn't really bad on that play.
Holding is a call, as we know, John, that's not always seen.
Well, they always say that, you can call holding on any play, but we saw there, I did not see holding.
Would have been at the 1, instead it's at the 29, and it's first down and 20. Hasselbeck, under pressure, gets spun down, and that's Casey Hampton. And John talking about Casey Hampton, and Hampton is able to burst through and put the pressure on and create a huge sack. So from the 1-yard line after the penalty and the sack, they're all the way back now.
Yeah, and here's Casey Hampton here, and you're talking about a 330-pound guy that when he gets a push-up, look how strong he is. He took the center, Robbie Toback, and with one arm, his left arm, he just pushed him right to the ground and then ran right up to Hasselbeck.
How unusual is that? The last time Hampton had a sack, it was early in the 2003 season, regular or post. Second down and 25. The ball is at the 34. On the ground now. Alexander sprints to the outside, and Alexander gets collared at the 26-yard line by Joey Porter.
And you just have the feeling we're talking about Joey Porter not making a lot of plays today, that when Alexander started to get the outside, didn't you just feel that Porter was going to catch him? I mean, and I know that Alexander was determined to get to the outside, and Porter was equally as determined. Right here, 55, equally as determined or more determined to catch him, and he did. Because Alexander has speed. And he's not just a great running back with average speed. He has good speed.
Close to a horse collar, but no call. Third down and 18. Hasselbeck throwing, and it's intercepted at the 5-yard line by Ike Taylor. And Ike Taylor is brought back to the 28-yard line where he's tackled by Matt Hasselbeck. And a flag comes in at the end of that play.
When that flag came in, though, that's not going to affect the interception. No. That'll be post-possession.
Post-possession foul at the end of the play, right in front of the Pittsburgh bench.
Personal foul. Block below the waist. Number 8 of the passing team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
On Hasselbeck, 10:46 remaining in the fourth quarter. The ebb and flow of this one. Wow. That's Hasselbeck. Interestingly, that's Tony Correnti there in the warm-up jacket with the zebra stripes underneath. He would be the backup referee. Now, here's the deal on this play. We think it's a bad call. If Hasselbeck is making a tackle, he can go low. If you go low on a blocker, and the call was that he went low on 26 Townsend, that was a cut. And that's why they argued the call to no avail. Can't review something like that. The ball's at the 44, and Parker takes it up to the 46-yard line. So it's kind of like insult to injury at that particular point. You have the interception after you thought you were down at the 1-yard line on the pass to Stevens, the penalty, the pick, the penalty, and now Pittsburgh with 10.5 has it near midfield.
Yeah, and that was one of the things the officials thought they saw something they didn't see, and that was Matt Hasselbeck just making a pretty good play in a tackle and getting penalized for it.
Again, if you cut a blocker low, that's a penalty. But that time, he made the tackle low, and that's legal. 2nd down and 9 at the 45-yard line. They swing it out to the left side. This is Randall L. Randall L with a little bit of a convoy. Picks up about 6 or 7 yards on the play. Pruitt makes the tackle, and that's going to set up a 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, you know, they just try and get the ball to Randall L. in the open field and let him run with it. That was a wide receiver screen. You know, most of the times we see a screen pass, it's usually a back coming out of the backfield. That was where he comes back quickly, throws it out to Randall L., and the line pulls and gets in front of him on a screen.
At the 48, Dyson back in defensively for Seattle at one cornerback spot. Roethlisberger out of the shotgun. He's going to run it. He's going to run for a 1st down to the 42-yard line. Design play, John?
Yes, I would say that was a design play because he didn't look very long. And we'll look at it from Skycam. We'll see what he sees. You see, he comes back and he sees right now, he sees a lane here, and he also has a lane here. So he's definitely going to run that thing and know that he can get a 1st down. So he took the lane to the right and then cut back to the lane to the left. Pretty good running.
At the 43. Little toss. Here comes a gadget play. Randall L. He can throw. He was a quarterback in college. And he's thrown a touchdown to Hines Ward in the Super Bowl. "43 yards, and sooner or later, they're going to run a gadget."
And you know it's coming in this alumni area that I said is between the 40s, and you know that Randall L. is going to be involved in it. It starts off in a reverse. He comes around, and it becomes a reverse pass, and he throws a perfect pass to Hines Ward. Look at them, they start in a bunch, and then he comes, here's Hines Ward coming all the way across the field. Randall L. getting the ball out in front for him. But you know that they're going to do it. You know that Randall L. is going to be the guy, and they're usually going to do it around midfield.
Randall L. in his career in regular season play 14 of 16 passing, 3 for 3 this year. Now Reed for the point after, and all of a sudden when it looked like Seattle's going in to take the lead, back come the Steelers. Each team with a huge interception in the game. Pittsburgh makes this one pay off, lead by 11. Bill Levy will make the announcement shortly. We think he will overturn the fumble because there was clearly contact, and you'll see it in a second. Levy's going to make the call here.
After reviewing the play, the runner was touched by number 50 of the defense prior to going down. It'll be 1st and 10 on the 34-yard line. Seattle is not charged a timeout.
And that's all that needed to have happen for Foot. Foot touched him. And then at the end of the play will be watch Hasselbeck's left elbow. There's the contact. He still has possession of the ball. When does he lose possession? He loses possession after the left elbow hits the ground. The second the left elbow hits the ground, end of play.
Right, and the big thing, I think, was the down by contact, the contact of Larry Foote. I think when they first ruled it a fumble, they probably didn't see that Larry Foote had contact with Hasselbeck.
So an 18-yard gain by Hasselbeck. Seattle still breathes. They're at the 34-yard line with 8:11 to go. And now Alexander. Before tough yards up to the 38-yard line, Casey Hampton makes the tackle. The clock will tick down under 8.
I think that Seattle, has to get into that up tempo again. Now, usually when you need 2 scores, you go to a hurry up at 4 minutes. So if you need 1 score, you have a hurry up at 2 minutes. 2 scores, you have a hurry up at 4 minutes. But at 7 minutes, 39 seconds, I think I would at least go to up-tempo.
Looking ahead, all their timeouts, plus the 2-minute warning. Here's Jaravicius making the catch. And Jaravicius dislodging the helmet of the Pittsburgh defender, Townsend, picks up a first down at midfield at the 50-yard line.
Yeah, this is one of those basketball things. Always try and get everything over to the other side, get Jaravicius back here by himself, and again, with his big body, just get the ball out to him away from the other guys. Get him to rotate one way and come back to this side to Jaravicius.
First and 10 at the 50-yard line. Hasselbeck going deep down the left side. And the coverage is right there again. It's the Jaravicius, the Shea Townsend combination, second down.
Yeah, and you get the isolate back here. They had the two receivers over on the other side. Jaravicius back here. And the first one, they worked a shorter pattern. And then they saw that they had something. They had single coverage here, so they came back to the deep one.
In that matchup, Jaravicius with a 7-inch advantage of 6'5" to 5'10". Second down and 10.
And he's tired. He just took himself out. And like I say, I mean, the clock is stopped here, but I still think they got to get the up-tempo for the Steeler defense.
And Seneca Wallace is in the game. Remember, he's the backup quarterback who caught a pass in the championship game, but they use him as a decoy and they flip it out to Alexander, and he gets taken down from behind on a nice tackle by Chris Hoke, the backup nose tackle.
And Seneca Wallace is going out now. That's interesting because I know they do have some plays. They have a package of 3 or 4 plays for Seneca Wallace other than quarterback, and one of them is a reverse.
He made that big catch early in the game against Carolina. Third down and 8. Guy they haven't gone to is Jackson, who had 5 catches in the first quarter and none since.
Well, they kind of got away from that, hitting that short pass, that quick stuff in front of them.
Third and 8, under pressure in the sack. The big sack by Shea Townsend, the corner who comes up from the left side, almost through the middle. You never know where the defensive coordinator, Dick LeBeau, will put the heat on from.
And that was an overload blitz, and that's exactly right. Matt Hasselbeck said, that he has to not know who's coming, but know who's not coming. Well, in this case, you better know who's coming, too, because the Shea Townsend just runs in there free. And he looks, but he was going to throw to the right. He turns to his right, and boom, there's number 26.
Compelled to punt now. Willing to punt it to Randall L. 3 sacks of Hasselbeck today, 1 by a lineman, 1 by a linebacker, and now 1 by a defensive back. And that one goes into the end zone. And with 6:20 remaining in the fourth quarter, Ben Roethlisberger will go to work with the clock. And an 11-point lead. 21-10 Pittsburgh. Inside Ford Field we come again with 6:15 to play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you look at Pittsburgh offensively, Al, and they're winning 21-10, but it's just some big. I mean, Roethlisberger had a big play in the scramble. Parker's long TD run and Randall L's pass, reverse pass.
And each team with a big interception. Jerome Bettis gets stopped at the 18-yard line. Chuck Darby is the first guy there. Now looking ahead, of course, it would be very beneficial if Seattle stopped them 3 and out here. Conserve their timeouts. It's a 2-possession game. Seattle has all of its timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, so they can stop it in effect 4 times.
I see Bill Cowher down there with his arms folded again, and I can't see them throwing here. Now that doesn't mean they won't. I mean it could be a backbreaker if they could get a completed pass and get a first down, but just knowing Bill Cowher, this is a run down and a run situation for him.
That is not a Red Auerbach victory cigar with the arms folded in this situation. Bettis chugs to the 24-yard line. Very key 3rd and 6 coming up. The big plays, of course, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3rd down and 28. Roethlisberger making sure he didn't go across the line of scrimmage. The huge pass there. Parker's 75-yard run, the longest run in Super Bowl history in the third quarter. The gadget play after the interception when Seattle was moving in perhaps to take the lead, or at least a field goal that would have made it a 1-point game. The big plays for the Steelers.
Right, and that's their 21, and that's darn near their whole offense for today.
Blackjack. 3rd down and 6 at the 24-yard line from the shotgun. And Roethlisberger is going to call a timeout just before the snap. So look over, call a timeout with 4:45. what happens, says Bill Cowher.
Timeout Pittsburgh was called before the clock ran to 0. It's a 30-second timeout. Second charge to Pittsburgh.
They have one left. Here is the play with the play clock.
You're right, and again, you'll see the ball snapped a lot of times right after 0 because the official who officiates that has to look at the clock hit 0 and then at the ball. So it's kind of a 0 beat before it's a penalty.
Don't the Chicago Bears know that after the game with Carolina?
Yes, they do. That may have been a couple of beats, though. There's Charlie Batch trying to find a good play in his wristband to give to Ben Roethlisberger for this third down play. Charlie Batch, the backup quarterback, and was at Pittsburgh practice the other day, and it was interesting. You know, a lot of teams don't give the backup any reps at all with the starting offense, but the Steelers do.
He saw a lot of action. Third down and 6 from the 24, out of the gun. Roethlisberger repositioning Randall L. Fakes to Haynes. Ben a little dump off. Randall L. And Randall L. will pick up a very important first down because that's going to use more of the clock. The ball comes loose at the end of the play.
Watch out, there could be a foreign object down there. It's always the umpire.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the umpire is usually the biggest, strongest, toughest guy, but it's always the umpire that when there's a pile, he'll dive in on it. This is going to be a shotgun play, and they're going to fake a reverse and then come on and just hit a little dump pass. I think this is about as safe a pass as you can have.
And a monster first down because now Pittsburgh can chew up the clock and force the Seahawks to take their timeouts. We tick down to 4 minutes. Ben will milk the clock. He gives it to Bettis. Bettis picks up 5 to the 35-yard line. And now Seattle really between a rock and a hard place. You got to stop them, and you also have to take your timeouts.
Yeah, because they know that they need 2 scores, and like I said earlier, they have to get into a 4-minute type thing, and it's under 4 minutes now. So there's a great deal of urgency right now. They have to get the ball back.
No question. They have to take it here, but what you don't want to do is give up 4 or 5 yards on first down. They gave up 4. You have 2nd and 6. You could be forced to take another timeout, let's say with a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. We'll see. Tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Budweiser Select. Downtown Detroit, you saw the lights on at Comerica Park, home of the Tigers, which is right across the street from Ford Field. 2nd down and 6 now after the Seattle timeout. The ball is at the 35-yard line. Bettis. And again, that's the position you're in right now. You have to take a timeout, but Pittsburgh has made it 3rd down and short. So you force Seattle to use the 2 timeouts. Now if you pick up the first down, you're almost home. Not quite, but almost.
Well, you're getting very, very close, and you're putting. You can see Mike Holmgren just getting that feeling now that we have to stop him here. I mean, if we don't, then like you say, you're very, very close to being home.
Bettis mic'd up. Listen in.
It's no different than week 1. It's no different than week 1. Do what you've been doing. Hey, hold up. Hey, Al, hold up. Listen up. Hey, it ain't no different than week 1. We're going to do what we do, and we've been doing this since training camp. Take care of our business. One play at a time.
Jerome Bettis. Is it the end of his career? We don't know.
Well, I would bet he gets a ball on this down, though, wouldn't you, unless it's a bootleg run.
3rd and a short 3. Kreider is the fullback. Bettis, the fake to him. Roethlisberger's going to run with it, and he's going to pick up the first down. Pruitt says no, he didn't make it, but here comes the line judge, and he's going to put the ball just across the yellow line. Levy may measure, but it appears that Pittsburgh has a first down.
Yeah, that was the play there. I mean, they're not going to throw the ball. They're either going to hand it to Jerome Bettis or they're going to fake it to Bettis and have them. In fact, that could have been a broken play. But they're going to fake to him and just bootleg him. And those are the two things you do: is either give it to Bettis or fake it to Bettis and and keep it out here yourself, like Roethlisberger did.
Roethlisberger has made some big runs in postseason. None bigger than that one.
That one was a backbreaker. We're on the 40-yard line. I was talking about the alumni area between the 40s. That's an old college term. When the alumni say, hey, you have to do this, you have to run reverse, you have to do this, you have to pass more, you would always do them between the 40s. You'd never do them, when you were going in or where you're coming out.
And there's Bill Cowher. like Red Cashin came out of retirement. First down.
And that was a big first down. That's a Super Bowl winning first down.
It's a little unusual, though, to see a coach whose team against Indianapolis almost coughed up a game that was not to be believed, with that big of a smile and still 3:20 on the clock.
That thought just went through my mind, too, and I'm sure between now and the end of the game, it's going to go through Bill Cowher's mind.
Right, he'll grit his teeth again pretty soon. 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. Here's Jerome. Seattle can only stop the clock with one more timeout plus the 2-minute warning. They have to use it here, which they do. So they're now out of timeouts. You'll have the 2-minute warning. They're still down by 2 possessions, a field goal, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. You go back to Indianapolis, a game they appear to have won, to get off to a tremendous start. Look good. Then they had the Polamalu overturn. Then you had Bettis. They're down near the goal line. All of a sudden, Jerome didn't fumble at all during the regular season. Harper comes up with it, and here comes a tackle for the ages, forever living in Pittsburgh lore. Roethlisberger.
And that deserves to go down in lore. I mean, that really does. That maybe that play, that tackle is what really put him here. And got Jerome Bettis here and got all those things because of the tackle that Ben Roethlisberger made. That's an old defensive guy and special teams guy, Cowher. Like some guys celebrate, you pat someone on the back, you pat him on the head, and he just grabs him by the chest and just throws him. That's a celebration.
Everything but a head slap on 2nd and 8. Here's Bettis. Roethlisberger attempting to become the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. He got a lot of advice this week from Dan Marino, who played, of course, with the Dolphins, but is a Pittsburgher. One of the things Marino told him, he said, soak in every second, enjoy everything. And of course, Dan would know better than anybody his spectacular career, but he only got to the Super Bowl once in his 2nd year, as does Roethlisberger.
Right, and that's what he wants him to know. That don't think that this is going to be an annual deal for you. I mean, you're here now, make the most of it, enjoy it, but win the game. Believe me, getting to the Super Bowl is one thing. Winning the Super Bowl is what you have to do.
3rd down and 8. Here's Bettis. He will not get the first down, so this will take us to the 2-minute warning, and Seattle's going to get the ball back. It'll be 4th down. They will, after the 2-minute warning, punt, but Seattle's going to need 11 points without a timeout in 120 seconds. 2-minute warning in Super Bowl 40. The Pittsburgh Steelers 21, the Seattle Seahawks 10.
Career bottled up in 60 minutes. That's the approach I'm taking. The goal has always been to get here. The Lombardi Trophy with your name on it means that you are champion of the world. It's been my driving force my whole career.
Back to Detroit we come. Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya, Susie Culber with 2 minutes to play in the game with an 11-point differential. Pittsburgh to punt. Gardocki to kick it. Said earlier, long career for Chris. Never had a punt blocked in 15 years in the league. And it won't happen tonight either. And it bounces into the end zone. That took 9 seconds. So 151, no timeouts. Of course, you can do it in either order here. You don't need the touchdown, the 2-pointer, and a field goal. just get into field goal range, and maybe you even kick it a little faster than you normally would, so that you try the onside kick and at least set up a touchdown.
That's what I would do, because you can't use up all your time at trying to get the touchdown and then not have any time to get the other score. So you have to get any type of score as quickly as you can.
Right. I mean, if they can get it down to about the 30-yard line, you bring in your field goal team, then you have the onside kick. 1st and 10, the ball is at the 20-yard line. Steelers rush 4. Hasselbeck throws over the middle, which is not where you really want to throw it here if you don't have to, and Jeremy Stevens makes the catch, and the clock's going to keep running.
See, the one thing, if you can throw it over the middle, you got to get your guys back, though, but if you can throw it over the middle and get first downs, then you can come up and spike it.
Oof,
but if you're short of the first down, then you get fouled up.
Yeah, 2nd down and 4, Hasselbeck. And that one's going to go over the middle, and wide open is Jurevicius, and he's going to get taken. No, he's not going to get taken down initially, as Chris Hope couldn't knock him down. Now they're going to race up to the 39-yard line. Again, if you can pick up about 10 or 12 yards here, you kick the field goal, and then you have the onside kick. 1st and 10. Hasselbeck stepping up, looking, slings it to the outside. That'll stop the clock. Throws it away. 60 seconds to go.
I wonder if Mike Holmgren is thinking that way, that I would probably take one more play. If I got in field goal range, I think I would take one shot for the end zone, then kick the field goal. So I'd try and be a little hoggy about it, and try and get both. But I think your idea, right, is get in field goal range now, and then, as you say, kick a field goal, or as I would say, get in field goal range, take a shot, then kick a field goal.
Right. Josh Brown, good field goal kicker. 2nd down and 10, ball at the 40-yard line. Hasselbeck stepping up, looking, slings it to the outside, and he had the open man there. It was Strong, who was probably the 4th guy on the food chain at that point, as he just tried to dump it off. And it will be 8 more seconds that are used on the clock, and sets up a 3rd down and 10.
And there's no tougher throw than the 4th guy in the food chain being all the way across the field, when you're in the left side of the field, he's on the right side. You're not going to complete that. That's about a 10%er.
Yeah. And not in the final minute of the Super Bowl either.
No.
3rd down and 10.
There they go.
Towels waving. Here comes Polamalu. Got a hand on him, but the pass is thrown, and it is incomplete. And there's no flag, and now it's going to be 4th down. And it will come down to this for the Seahawks to try to stay in the game. For Mike Holmgren, he came very close to stepping aside after last year. He walked into Paul Allen's house, the owner of the team. He said, you know what, I might not be the right guy for the job. If Allen said you're not, he would have left. But Allen said, think about it a little bit more. And there is the owner of the Seahawks. And he changed a lot of people in the organization. Holmgren said he's never had as much fun as he had this year. 4th down and 10. Hasselbeck stepping up, needs the first, has it to the 24-yard line. That's Ingram. Now, do you kick a 42-yard field goal? For starters, they're going to down it here to stop the clock. Okay, 34 seconds.
And I think you take one shot here at the end zone. If you don't get it, I think you kick the field goal in the next down. But as you say, you can't spend all your time now trying to get this score and not have time for the onside kick in the next drive.
Right, you take a shot, but if you're going to, it's got to be, I think, to the outside of the end zone. If you're going to fool around over the middle, that's going to kill a lot of time. You'll have to spike it, and then you're down to almost nothing.
They have a play to Darrell Jackson down here that. But the Steelers are off, so it's going to be tough to get. That's what he's trying to get to.
To the outside, and that's about the last thing you want to do, and it's incomplete, which is a break for them, because at least that stops the clock. Tyrone Carter with the coverage.
Yeah, you have to kick the field goal right now. If not, you're just going to die trying here.
Pittsburgh not letting them take the kind of shot they wanted to.
No, they had Darrell Jackson down here in the bottom, and they were going to take a shot to him on the left, but the Steelers were playing way off on him, and he couldn't even get to the defender, Ike Taylor.
3rd down and 10. Bill Cowher ending his 14th season, looking for his first Super Bowl win. 3-man rush. To the outside they go. And staying in bounds, Carter made the tackle on Stevens, and he stays in bounds. And now there's really nothing left to do. You can't spike it. It's 4th down.
Boy, they finished the game the way they finished the half.
Absolutely. And the pass over the middle, and that's Stevens, and he's going to drop that one, and that's going to write an end to it. And you're exactly right, John. The first half was a mess at the end. The end of this drive was a mess for Seattle's offense.
But how about Bill Cowher? You talk about coaches, and I said earlier his yeah, but he hasn't won the big one. Yeah, but he hasn't won the Super Bowl. He's won it today.
You bet. His daughters are there. And that's always been the thing. You're right, John. It's that yeah, but thing, you know. His wife, Kay. Bill Cowher, great coach, a lot of wins, titles, gets to the Super Bowl, but now he's going to hoist the Lombardi Trophy.
And I'll tell you, you look at his daughters and you look at his wife down there, they live that too. They live with that can't win the big one. You always go to Hawaii, you're always coaching the Pro Bowl, you're never in the Super Bowl, and then you have to just kind of stay there and take it. But I'll tell you, they'll never be able to say that about Bill Cowher again.
And what a run. As they'll end it on a kneel down. Polamalu will be the safety valve here. And the Pittsburgh Steelers 7-5. And wouldn't have made the playoffs 2 months ago. Run the entire table with 8 wins, regular and post. All of them in postseason on the road.
Bill Cowher was saying that he wanted to get this one to give owner Dan Rooney his 5th Super Bowl ring. He did that.
And finally, after those 4 Super Bowl wins in the 70s, one of the great dynasties in the history of sports, they finally, in 2005, the 2005 season, on February 5th, 2006, they finally get the one for the thumb.
And this feeling is so great. I mean, if you're a player, I know what Bill Cowher is feeling and thinking right now. He is just soaking in this moment. It doesn't get any better than this. You're the Super Bowl champion forever.
And you had so many big plays. One was the penalty on Sean Locklear without overlooking that negated what would have been a 1st and goal for Seattle and a possible lead, leading to the interception by Taylor, leading to the Ward touchdown pass, leading to the 11-point lead, leading to the victory. Pittsburgh wins it by a score of 21-10. The Cadillac postgame show, followed by Grey's Anatomy. Coming up next here on ABC, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the Super Bowl champions.